2 or more key areas within the IBC mandate where you think automation could either be introduced or improved. Automation of services or their work.
Thank you. That's more of a ICT and not a data, but I'll
I mean, like ICT will have to be informed by that.
Thank you, Wakili, for that question. Yeah, Wakili, as a data expert, there are so many things that you can do as in policy using data. You make policies driven from the insights that you get from data. This data, there's the voter register. There's a big data that can draw insights from and make policies. There's also the voter turnout statistics that are very important. You can use them to draw policies of whether maybe a certain class or certain age group of voters in a certain area are affected by voter apathy than maybe a certain area. So one of if I come to automation, one of the things that IBC can do is now using IT to transmit results, using IT also most importantly to what I will do is dashboards, which will be real-time update to the voters, automated with data that is trickling down and from the constituency and from the country. During times like during continuous voter registration, how the CCs and the county election coordinators engage the public, the ground, because for me, engaging the voters and the stakeholders in the ground is what is not being well communicated. They might be doing a lot of things right now. There's a notion that right now what they might be doing right now, because there's no voter registration going on, but they might be doing a lot of things that if it is automated and shown to the public using dashboards, the public might know that this is currently this is the place IBCR, and this is the update that we need, and how can we give feedback. So an automated approach would be in county elections office, in the IBC offices. You can have also a dashboard. You can also have a dashboard in the IBC website where it can be interactive and people can give back feedback and can be updated on daily operations of the IBC. Yeah.
All right, a follow-up question.
Yes. On
your own expertise as M&D specialist, how would you use such a skill within the IBC to ensure that there is feedback and evolution of IBC processes?
Thank you, Akil. And in the Constitution, one of the mandates of IBC is to facilitate observation, monitoring and evaluation of elections. I feel that only little has been done in this mandate. The IBC has only, I think, done the processes of accreditation of observers and monitors. They've never gone ahead and done an M&D plan that is interactive to the public. So, luckily, let me just remind you, in the IBC, in their while they were developing their strategic plan for 2015-2020, they acknowledged. I think I remember this is in page 17 of that document, the SP 2015-2020. They acknowledged that the lack of results-based management, M&D framework, is the reason why they didn't achieve what they had intended to achieve in the previous strategic period. So in 2020 and 2024, they put as one of the key results area is to develop an M&D framework. So I will be one of the things that I'll do when I get the opportunity to join the ABC, when I get to Anniversary Towers, is to make sure that I'm updated whether they have done this or not. And if they haven't, we sit down, we develop it. So Wakili just managed to also answer your question. Feedback is very important. And one of the things that I am introducing and also using the low-hanging fruits in the IBC is on the election day. Wakili, on the election day, we can do feedback. And you see, if people are voting and they have cast their vote, I will introduce a system that after you cast your vote, maybe one clerk can get you to a system. You can have 3 or 4 or 5 questions structured to gather your feedback. Whether how satisfied are you with the elections today? Do you see any irregularities you want to report, and so on and so forth? We'll be discussing simple variables that we will be collecting, that will be guiding our engagement. That will be self-evaluation. So then after, as the results are trickling down to the tallying center, the feedback is also trickling down to the IBC officers somewhere, so that we can be able to analyze, to give a report, and most importantly, to notice that we will be able to give these findings back to the public in those dashboards, in the website, and also in the national elections a dialogue forum that has never been done in this country. We don't. The IBC has never engaged the voters national level, and on the county level we also can have maybe forums quarterly or semi-annual for the whole country, so that we can give them the feedback that they have given us, and tell them, look, you said this and this and this.
So for the interest of time, I think you have responded sufficiently.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And
thank you.
Over to you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to invite Madam Koki to ask you some questions, please, Koki.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Bakari.
Yes, what is?
You told us that you are a registration officer, deputy registration officer in the 2010 referendum
yes.
on the draft constitution. Therefore, you must have experienced training of officials. I'm sure you also conducted training of your own.
Yes.
And for registration officials. And also we realize, of course, in the IEBC, it's not just for registration. There's also training for voter education, training to conduct the elections, and all sorts of other training programs that IEBC conducts. So if you become a member of IEBC, what measures will you advance to ensure that there is sustainability in the training process, that it's not wasted or lost, and it is, it carries on for future workers at IEBC? And also, how will you ensure that the officials are well trained? Think back beyond that, coming to the 2010 Constitution, we had the Kriegler Commission, we had lots and lots of recommendations on training when you respond to this question. First, how do we ensure sustainability? Second, how do we ensure election officials are well trained?
Yeah. One of the, like noted, Balozi, one of the recommendations of the Kriegler Commission was training on regular training of IBC staff, and also training on civic education. In 2010, the experience that I got is that these people who handle the clerks and the temporary staff who handle elections are not trained very well. I think there's not ample time to train them to handle elections. But most importantly, Balozi, is to have sustainability is first to anchor these training programs in laws and in the regulations. That is first. I will introduce. Then making sure that for them to be sustainable and to be effective, you anchor them also in the performance contracts of these of our CECs. One of the things I introduced very importantly is to make sure that we have targets. How many people are trained? How many stakeholders are trained in the on the ground? How many CSOs have you trained? How many influencers, social media influencers have you partnered with on weekly basis, monthly basis, and annual? How many radio talk shows have you went through to the vernacular radio stations? And also important also make sure that there's an M&D framework to monitor the effectiveness of this training programs, because one there's a difference between having a training program anchored in the law, and there's also a sort of difference to make sure that it has been effectively implemented in the ground, so that stakeholders know how to engage public in civic education, so that we can give civic education that is very inclusive, progressive, and responsive to the needs of the voter, so that they can be satisfied and updated always that IBC is doing this and this, and we can give feedback during these forums. And so it's a broad strategy that will come from institutionalizing it in the law and the regulations, and making sure that it is monitorable regularly and to the ground.
Thank you, Mr. Bakari. How just finally a small point.
Yes.
How do you anchor a training program in law and regulations?
We are the IBC is apart from the act and the regulations that have been stipulated, it has been also given the mandate to do the regulations for its daily implementation of election programs. So one of the things is you can make a regulation, you can make a policy, and make sure that I lobby my colleague commissioners to make sure they support, because one of the things that it is challenging implementation of policies is a leadership goodwill. So if I can lobby my colleagues to support these training programs and making sure that they are anchored into regulations, it will be a plus, and civic education will be effective in the ground.
Thank you, Mr. Bakari, and all the best.
Thank you, Balos.
Thank you. I want to invite FCPA Tanvi to ask you some questions. FCPA, please.
Thank you, Chair. Bwana Bagari.
Yes, Mhasibu.
The cost of elections have been a big discussion throughout this interview. Kindly identify for us 5 causes of these high cost of elections, or cost drivers, if I may put it that way. And using your data skills, data analysis skills, your results-based management, what proposals would you have to help in reducing the cost of elections in the 5 areas that you will have identified. Thank you.
Thank you, FCPA. Before I answer, I want to acknowledge also the IBC Secretariat in their recent report, the post-election evaluation. They acknowledged that one of the researches that they did was to a survey to get to know why the high cost, to get to know the high cost drivers in election management. And one of the things that they acknowledge, you told me to them 5. One is technology. Technology is a very expensive thing, and so the other day that the CEO was before the parliamentary committee said that they were proposing to drop the current KIMS kit and procure others, because I think they are obsolete, or there are some functions that they cannot they cannot function again. So election management through technology is very expensive. Secondly, the operations of the election day, especially the HR function, employment of the temporary staff. During the 2022, I think we had over 560,000 temporary staff, and these are people who need training, their subsistence allowance, and some of the challenges we have in this country is that they can stay even after 1 month. They haven't been paid. So
just
that is one of the
them,
things.
And then what I'm interested in is the solutions.
Okay.
So just mention that.
Okay, so technology.
2.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then give me the solutions is what I'm interested in.
Thank you, FSPA. So technology, I said in the first one, the election day, training and recruitment of temporary staff, security management, also is a cost driver, voter education, the civic education is also a cost driver, and also voter registration is a really high cost driver in management of elections in this country. So to your second part, you said how I can use my RBM model.
Yes, and your data analysis skills.
Thank you, SPA. I said earlier, it has not been the norm in this panel that you give a chance for a candidate to present maybe a PowerPoint. But like I said, I have some draft models that I have for each program in the IBC election management. So I'll start with the...
Give us highlights, just
yes,
highlights.
Yes.
Of what,
I'll start with the... Okay, maybe I can just start with the one about education. About education is entails a lot of stakeholder engagement. And results-based management, like I said, is the attachment of input or resource to every to a verifiable output, outcome, and income and the impact. So in voter education, we need to make sure we partner. We do first stakeholder in the model. You do stakeholder analysis. You know your stakeholders. They'll be the political parties, the voter, and other stakeholders. That is for stakeholder analysis. And then you also, for each stakeholder, what cap, what hat are they wearing? Is it, are they beneficiaries? Are they stakeholders, just stakeholders? Are they financiers through taxes? And also, you develop KPIs for every stakeholder. What they need you to what they need to see to make sure what education has reached the local mwananchi. So there's a lot of data that is in IBC, lying in IBC, that I can draw a lot of insights from, like the voter register. I can be able to analyze and make sure and see what category of people is lacking behind in voter registering as voters. So we are able to put more of the finances in voter education in that particular group. So this will be a model that it will be interactive, comprehensive, and progressive, in that for every indicator we have data that supports this and is effective implementation, so that that particular stakeholder or that particular stakeholder can see that we were at this baseline, and now we have been educated. And what has happened is that this group of people have now, more of them have registered as voters. We were at 20%, we are now at 30%. So, on technology, maybe I can just touch on technology. In technology, SPA, results-based management, technology is very expensive, and if we don't make sure that every technology, because we should analyze what type of technology will come and help us do what. And if it is a technology for the BVR keys for registration of voters, if it is the KIMS kit used during the election, we want to know the use of this technology and what we can use as our funds to make sure that we only only procure technology that is helping us to solve a certain IT issue, also facilitate us to produce credibly and fair elections in a fair manner. And
I think that's okay. I think the two examples you've given are sufficient.
Thank you.
So I wish you well, and thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Masibu.
Thank you. I want to invite Evans Misati to ask you some questions. Evans, please.
Thanks so much, Chair. Sadiki.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you a very simple question.
Yes, thank you.
From statistics, in the 2022 general elections, we had total registered voters around 14,200,000.
Total?
The total registered votes, 14 million.
There's 22 million.
Yes.
Not
now,
14.
The ones who turned out to vote, around 14 million.
14, yes.
Now, there are those who did not turn to vote, but they were not registered. When you had such a number, it becomes almost 16, 17 million. Now, in our democracy, how will you rate that? The number of people who turned out to vote vis-a-vis the number of people who are total who are reachable to vote in Kenya.
Thank you. The number of registered voters were 22 million. The number who turned out was 14 million.
Yes.
But
and there are those who did not vote because they were not registered. So when you totalize that,
that's like 7 million or 6 million.
Yes.
we talk about the equality to vote, and also the universal suffrage. And when you have a bigger number of people who did not turn out as voters, you must know why they did not turn out to exercise the democratic right. And having a lot of people not turning out begs a question that maybe because the issue is the trust in IBC and the confidence, and also the things that happen in the polling day, violence. People are afraid maybe they might be harmed. People think that the election results have already been declared somewhere. So one of the things
that's good. That's a good. That's good. Now, if you are given an opportunity and you are an IPC commissioner, because this assumption that information in public, are you able to do anything to ensure that the information that Kenyans have out there is authentic in regards to that aspect of voting? Because why would somebody say he's not coming out to vote because he thinks elections have been declared somewhere? Because today, as a panel, we are conducting interviews today.
Yes.
But on social media yesterday, it was already showing that we had already completed the interviews and we have sent the names. So as a commissioner, what will you do to ensure that such information going out to the public in a negative way is averted?
Yeah, I thank you. One of the things, Chair, that is very important is see and this is why I ask myself so many questions during election mood, the electioneering period. We have a lot of polls, and giving us some percentage that maybe 44%, of voters. I think that IBC will be credible in this election. So I think there's a need to make sure that we give information to the public. And one of the things that like I mentioned, I was talking to Wakili here, is self-evaluation. If you have data in your disposal that you are doing well, or that the percentage of how the percent of people are getting outside and then the IBC offices is different from what you have. For example, what I said that I'll be able to make sure we self-evaluate ourselves through a feedback system. We will make sure that we give information to the public contrary to what is maybe given by the media and the social medias. That is contrary to the image of the Commission. And I'll make sure that we give this information constantly, because these people need to get the right information before they give out the wrong information. And it is very key that before you because one of the things that in the election day is fake news. You can be told that a candidate has declared that they're not running again, and this is your candidate. You want to go to for election. People come to election day only to vote for one person, maybe NP, but because they have 6 ballots, they have to vote anyway on the other ballots. So if any intimidation and false news they get in the very morning, they might as well not turn out to vote. So there are a lot of things that cause apathy to voters. So fake information, intimidation, violence, mistrust to IBC, and so many.
Thanks so much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I want to ask Ms. Fatuma Saman to ask you some questions. Fatuma, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Sadiq, please tell the panel why stakeholder mapping is so essential in managing elections. Why is stakeholder mapping very important in managing elections?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Stakeholder mapping is very important in election, civic education and voter education. In that you will know, when you do stakeholder the mapping, you will know which stakeholder needs what kind of information, and what also secondly you will know which stakeholder can be found using what mechanisms. If it is the social media, if for youth you can use social media, for people who are women and disability you can use other mechanisms. So social stakeholder mapping is very important, because you will know if the CSOs, how well can you engage them, the systems and the mechanisms that you're going to engage them. If it is PWD, they have their own ways of being engaged. That is be effective, and also if it is if they are women and other special groups like the youth, you can engage them through the social media. So having stakeholder mapping is essential, like data collection. It's a data collection tool that will make you know that a certain stakeholder, I am maybe, for example, the kind of information that you are going to give to our youth who has a lot of information from social media is not the information that you can give to women, because every different kind of stakeholder has some deficit information. So you will know by how much can I make sure that I engage political parties. By how much can I make sure that I engage women? By how much can I make sure that I engage the youth? And it is also important, but that you'll be able to know how much resources you want to put into this exercise, because every stakeholder engagement it is very costly. And some of the things that you'll realize when you do stakeholder mapping is that you can use some low-hanging fruits that can never be as cost as it could have been if I had not done the mapping. So especially like social media, perhaps like the youth in this country don't want to be told. These days, they want to be heard. So where do we meet them? We meet them in the social media spaces. And like I said, I gave an example of the performance contracting that I'll propose the targets that the CCs will be signing, is that they will have to do partnerships with the social media influencers to get the youth. So you'll do this, all these strategies and targets. You'll make them after you've done the stakeholder mapping, so that you know how much you can budget, and by how much the deficit is needed of information to this stakeholder as opposed to this other stakeholder. So thank you. I think I've answered your question.
Yes, you have.
Sorry, I stammer a lot, so.
It's okay. I've gotten everything you said.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I wish you well. Back to you, Chair.
Shukran.
Thank you. I want to ask Nicodemus Bode to also ask you some questions. Nicodemus, please.
Thank you. Bakari from, I saw you went to a school in Kilifi. It's called Sokote.
Yes, Sokote Secondary School. It was
and it's a low school in Kilifi.
It is even lower when I attended than
and you
now.
Scored a B.
Yes, and with mathematics, A in mathematics. And I scored also an A in mathematics in primary school.
Yes.
I'm very proud to mention that, because it is the background and the fundamental foundation of my statistics and M&E career as today we speak.
So that is, I want to congratulate you for that, coming
Thank
from
you.
that very low school and scoring a B.
Thank you.
I'm sure you had been given a chance, and if your parent had enough resources to go to a provincial school that you had been invited, maybe you'll have scored better.
Can you imagine I was the first one?
In Sokoto Primary, in Sokoto Secondary School?
Yeah.
Or in Kilifi?
That time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, you also informed the panel that you worked with the judicial
Judges and
the
Magistrate Vetting Board.
Judges
And Magistrate
and
Vetting Board.
Magistrate Vetting Board.
Yes, sir.
Where you worked in vetting the judges, in assisting as a research assistant.
Yes, yes, yes.
And among the roles that you went through is to look at what the judges have in terms of resources and how they acquired it.
Yes, that is we call it a lifestyle audit.
Lifestyle audit.
Yes.
Now, what are the legal and ethical requirements for public officers such as IEBC commissioners regarding financial disclosures and conflicts of interests?
Thank you. Thank you. I hold so dearly to close to heart the mandate that we accomplished at the board. It was a very unique mandate. Never has it been done that time that people had, judicial officers had been vetted to find their stability or otherwise to continue serving or be dropped from the system. So one of the things that a public officer, one of the things that there's a public officer ethics act 203 that you should make sure you declare your wealth. When I go to IBC, I think the first thing is that I will declare my wealth, so that I know subsequently the years that I have accrued, it will be known that Sadiq came with 2 million and he now has 20 million from the salary. So that's one of the things. Then as far as conflict of interest, when you are required by the PFM Act that you disclose your conflict of interest, and also in the public procurement disposal act, you must declare your conflict of interest when you are handling some business that you are an interested party, or you know the person who may be the ones that the business, maybe it is tender or something else. So there are laws that are governing public officers to the constitution, ethics, integrity. There's also chapter 10 of Article 10 and 232 of the Constitution, which also hold very dearly, because in the county currently I'm the one who does compliance analysis for declaration of wealth and liabilities, and report to the county assembly biannual. We do survey, make sure we report to the assembly by how much the public service in the country has complied with these regulations. So it is a very important thing that I held to my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, and all the best, boss.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. I invite Professor Adams to ask you some questions, Prof.
Thank you, Chair. Wana Sadiki,
Professor.
Looking at the IBC's constitutional role, how should a commissioner, that is if Sadiki was to be a commissioner, contribute to long-term national cohesion beyond elections? In other words, In Kenya, we see election ends and a new polarization starts. Does the commission have any role in ensuring?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So in making to contribute to long-term national cohesion, the most important is the safe integration and cohesion in the commission. You see, we if I got the nod of this panel, I will be the commissioners come from different backgrounds, and everyone is an expert in their own way. I will be an expert from M&D and RBM. The chair of us will be a legal person, expert. There's another one, finance, and stuff like that. So we have our background that if we continue, make sure that we integrate well, because they make sure that you don't. They say you don't wash your linen in the public. If there are any disagreements, you solve them in-house, so that you make the public know that you are still a team, and you can manage the elections or subsequent elections that are coming next. Secondly, is making sure that you hold the stakeholder engagements with all the different stakeholders, especially the political parties. It's very necessary for them to be in sync with the functions and the mandate of the commission, and they should know that the commission is there to facilitate their coexistence, because we are not there to just get legislators and leaders elected, but we also there to preserve integrity and cohesion in this country. And also one of the things also is through legal regulations. You can, if there's need be, you can propose some amendment to maybe the act or to some regulation that some strings need to be strengthened, so that cohesion can still prevail in this country. And maybe one other thing, Prof, is to realize that by the end of the day, what is important is the life of everyone in this country, and you are a facilitator of coexistence, good governance, and integrity and trust, and people should have always confidence in what you do.
Thank you. My last question on this segment.
Yes.
Imagine again that you are a commissioner and you are tasked with leading national stakeholder forums in the post-election period. How would you ensure that marginalized voices shape the next electoral cycle? That marginalized voice could be the youth, it could be the women, it could be the disabled, it could be people in far-flung areas where communication and infrastructure is not there. How would you?
Thank you, Prof. During this stakeholder, you said national forum. The first of the things that you make sure is that those who the participants of that national forum are many of them are the youth, or you have a good number of representatives from the youth, special groups, women, and the disability. And that is one. You make sure people come for that, and you mobilize in the ground that people should come and should be present during that forum. Secondly, you you make sure that because there are some groups which find it very hard to get on board, like the PWDs. PWDs has been a very and talking from a background of information, like now I'll give you an example, Prof. Currently, we only have 1% of employees in the county living PWD, and I've managed to convince the board that the next subsequent recruitment, I will headhunt PWDs during the recruitment. Going to the council, asking them if you have people who are in this background, who want employees from this background. So you must make sure that you headhunt, and you make sure you do a mobilization of all those groups. Then, as a commissioner, you must make sure that you lay out strategies in the commission and the policies that resonates to these special groups, and also most importantly, during party nominations, you make sure that these groups are represented, and they can get their chance to be voted, and also to give their views in this country.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Prof. Ask your last two questions, please.
Sadiq Muhammad Bakari. Monitoring and evaluation is one of your fortes.
Yeah, I try as much as possible.
So normally, the ideal situation is you have monitoring and evaluation being treated as a concept, as one concept. But of course, there are distinguishing elements. So can you just tell us in brief, what's the difference between monitoring and evaluation? What does monitoring entail? What does evaluation entail?
Thank you, Prof. The misconception is there, and I think before I answer, the worst misconception is that it is being held as audit. M&D officers always are being taken as auditors and victimizers, but we are support. We support the functions of public service delivery. So the monitoring and evaluation, monitoring, Prof, is a consistent collection of data to guide you to know that you are on track in implementing and in getting what you had targeted earlier. And then evaluation now is not continuous. It may be midterm, semi-annual, or something like that, so that you evaluate yourself. You look back. What can I learn? Can I replicate my lessons, the good lessons that I've learned, or can I drop some of the things that I've done that have not been effective?
Thank you. My last question. Name 2 African countries that are islands or made up of islands.
I think Madagascar is Seychelles, I think.
Are you done?
Madagascar.
Are you withdrawing Seychelles?
No, I think the 2.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Bwana Bakari. Tunashukuru wakati ambao tumekuwa nao. Sijui kama uko na swali ama jambo lolote la kusema.
Thank you, Chair. One is to appreciate. I don't take it for granted for to be among the people who have come before you to seek this opportunity. You said I saw in the media that we were over 1,300 applicants, and you saw it fit that someone from Kilifi can come and they also present themselves. Secondly, I want to urge the public and my fellow Kenyans that trusting in a process is a very difficult thing, but it's also another thing to speak that you don't trust something. You know, you can have your views and you stay with them. As you get enough data to make sure you have the facts, and also it's also one thing to echo when you don't have the facts. So we trust that this process is fair, and it will give IBC a new face, and most importantly, my contribution will be making sure through RBM that IBC can be trusted again with using constant, inclusive, responsive, and progressive engagement constantly on the ground, so that people see a new face, people see a new brand of IBC, people can resonate themselves with the IBC and their functions, and also confident that whatever IBC does with their taxes is to the best interest of them. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Blessings to you. You find your certificates with the gentleman at the door. Feel free to pick the notebook and the pen. They are yours. Asante.
Thank you very much. Mchana mwema.
Safari njema. Asante.
Asante.
You want a break or next? Break, thank you. Okay. So we do break. So we go for break and we'll be back at 11:10. Thank you.
I'm mentioning this because there has been in my area where assistant chief or a chief cannot be allowed to perform its acting capacity in a different area because of those reasons. And finally, the issue which you really responded about politics and leadership. You cannot disengage the two, because chief is about leadership. So when the community are having issue with a specific reasons, you need to listen to, or they need to be addressed in a way that they get satisfied. That was my concern, Chair.
Okay. Yeah. Chair, Buonasias, welcome. I have a similar question which our vice raised, the issue of delay. In my constituency, Buonasias, I have about 3 places of sub-locations which have always been advertised. Interviews were done, but we are waiting for the results from Nairobi. And I think I have talked to Beverly. Beverly is always very responsive. That's number one. Number two is an issue of an assistant chief who was accused of some problem in the constituency, and he was stopped. Now, later, he was found to be innocent, and I have asked the office to reinstate that assistant chief. He's a good assistant chief. So, and I've talked to Beverly, she's always responsive. And I would like that assistant chief to be reinstated. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. For the record, I'm...
Actually, you introduce yourself, then we have the members who have joined us introduce themselves, at least to get into record. Then you do your question.
Okay, thank you, Chair. For the record,
Maybe
I'm Rosa
okay, yeah.
Akinyi Buyu, Member of Parliament, Kisumu West Constituency. And Chair, I got a bit delayed because our flight from Kisumu was delayed, but I'm here.
The members who have joined us can introduce themselves.
Thank you very much, Chair and Waziri. Honorable Hussein Weitan, Member of Parliament, Mandera East.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Buru Kahangara, MP Larry, and committee member.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Liz Chelule, County MP Nakuru, and a member of this committee.
Back to you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I want to take us back to Article 27. These positions of chiefs and assistant chiefs for a long time were actually left for the male gender. But I know that women of the female chiefs and assistant chiefs are actually performing higher than they were actually expected to perform. And I want to make a special appeal for special consideration when females actually present themselves for interviews and pass, and their names are part of the names that come to the headquarters for consideration. I want to make a special appeal for affirmative action, that the female chiefs are actually so loyal and dedicated, and nothing deters them even from going to Changadens. Some of them work so well, and in their areas, you find that Changa, which is prevalent in many places, the rate of trading in Changa and actually taking Changa is actually brought to minimum. So I want to make a special request and special appeal to the headquarters that when you're considering, if any name of a female comes to you as one of the three names that are presented to you, kindly give them consideration for affirmative action. And particularly, I've seen this in Kisumu West. I know I've made appeals, and many times you've responded to those appeals, not because they failed, but because they are part of the names that have come to you. I just want to make that special appeal for the whole country. If you see names of female chiefs, don't think they are not able. There's no reason why Rosa cannot wake up at night and leave her husband in bed and go out to fight those cattle rustlers or to fight the Changa brewers. Rosa will leave the husband in bed and go. So let not be one of the ways or one of the discriminatory ways of ensuring that women do not get jobs that they can otherwise perform. Thank you.
I will implore as members anyway, okay, the interest may be much, but let's not be repetitive. At least a question that has been already answered, asked, you skip so that we can address the rest of the question. What is it? Maybe you start with?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. This is a very important topic, and Kenya is diverse, and there are a lot of dynamics, and areas might not be the same. This issue of ladies are our mothers, they are our sisters, we have no problem. But what I'm saying is that societies, not all societies have accepted these kind of things. Like now in our area, it is very hard to give these positions to a lady. Some of the positions we gave, I can assure you, it's just, it's as if there is no even person that's acting on the position. Because of, we are not, I'm saying,
go to the question.
I'm saying, I know I'm going to the question, but I'm saying there are a lot of diversity in Kenya. So let's accept our cultures. And
what is the question?
The other thing is that, in our area now, in Northeastern, and where I come from, most of the chiefs that were employed before devolution and even before were illiterate, completely illiterate. They have never gone to class. Waziri, I'm saying most of the chiefs were illiterate before 2009 and before. And let me tell you, those ones are now retiring, almost all of them. And those are the people that we rely on. Unfortunately, these young guys who performed very well in school, I'm sure there are people who served in, administration like Sigay and our friends. There is a problem. We have a very big problem. But there is no problem solving, strategies. There are no. Those illiterates were better, 100%. Right now, what we have in Northeastern, and I'm sure as security agents, you will be able to do your own, investigation. Most of the young guys, Mera, those kind of things, they don't even report to their place of work. So in fact, we prefer you going back to the illiterate chiefs. Okay. I can assure you, because there is a problem, and because of the insecurity, because of the problems that are there, they are the ones who can solve the problems. They are part of the society, and in fact, very soon, even MCS. My dad was a councillor and a mayor in Madeira for 20 years. He was an illiterate. He never went to class. And one of the most popular councillors in the area, most of the MBC are aware. Right now, when we got these literate ones, there's a problem. We are not going
Thank you so much, Wetad. I know CA can confirm. He's a friend to your dad. You ever say that. Kaunya, 1 minute, please. We quite have a lot of questions.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, what I wanted to emphasize is one point Honorable Manduku mentioned. The issue of due diligence is very important for chief selection. What I've noted, based on my experience, and I think Honorable Segei, we were in the field. At that time, we had very, very disciplined chiefs and very hardworking. So two things I've noted. So one is mine is really just a comment to say that the ministry, the CS, should take serious consideration of the aspect of due diligence when appointing chiefs and assistant chiefs. And that is very key, because if we want chiefs who will deliver, that's important. Chiefs definitely must be resident within the areas. Where a chief is appointed from outside and is non-resident, it becomes a problem. And I think, finally, Chair, there is the issue of empowering these chiefs. You need to empower these chiefs so that they are able to perform. After the 2010 Constitution, I think the powers of the chiefs looks like they are not doing what they are supposed to be. So they need to be empowered.
Okay. Waziri, you can, of course, use your discretion and wisdom on how you respond to. There are quite a number, but I want to call upon members, especially of my committee. Of course, we are riding on the members' questions. And there's nothing that holds us from calling the CS another day to talk about the welfare policy and the rest. So let's try to restrict ourselves if we need to. In fact, I will prefer we give more preference to the members who sought the statements, kindly, so that we can able to move. So, Waziri, back to you.
I totally agree that due diligence is important. Usually that is done. It's done by the National Intelligence Service, assisting and supporting the other security agencies. It's also done by the officers who are working in that area, the ACC, the DCC, and the regional commissioner. So there is a collection of information across the board, and it helps because the ACC, DCC, and RC are not from that area, so they can have an objective recommendation. Usually, and let's be very honest about this, is that the biggest challenge is usually the politics. You know, this politician wanting against this clan against the other, and the governor is on one side, the senator is on another, the MP is on another side, and so all these issues, end up compounding a situation. But the due diligence is done. I also agree that the other issue is qualifications. The insistence on academic qualifications has robbed the service or the national administration of the opportunity to get actually very strong people who necessarily don't have the same academic qualifications as enlisted by in the Public Service Commission. As I said earlier, there is a discretion somewhere we can play with, but that discretion is very minimal. Some chiefs are very good. I know some places I have gone, whether in Kerio Valley region or the Northeastern, where the people are really insisting that it would have been nice to have this person become the chief. even if their papers are not right. And then, you know, because of this insistence of papers, some of them also go ahead and get fake papers. In the process, you lose a very important person who would have been given a waiver, but already because he has submitted papers, he is already being investigated for fraud. So already his record now is even worse than if it was only about the papers. So it's an issue that because there is an ongoing review of the laws and policies governing the administrative units in the country, national administration generally, this is an issue that we must have, we need to take up, especially at the lower level. On the question of the gender, it's also a issue of great concern. Outside the, I would say, Mr. Chair, and I'm not defending Honorable Masara, that what he said is the raw feelings of many people in some places, the same way Honorable Itana said, although it is sometimes misguided. It is just based on prejudices of the past. There is no reason why a lady cannot be able to do the job, and many places where we have women being the chiefs or assistant chiefs, they have done a fantastic job. Sometimes it's because, I guess sometimes because as a woman to just get there is extremely difficult. So by the time they're reaching there, they have no chance of making any mistakes, they whatever. I must confess, Mr. Chair, that I live in two places, in Trans Nzoia and in Elgeyo Marakwet, and in both cases, the chiefs are female, and they do a very good job. And particularly from my ward, which is a border ward, and with many security issues, my chief is doing very well, and many other chiefs along Kenya
CS, why don't you just say that the female chiefs are more diligent and loyal and hardworking? Don't be
Yes, just
scared.
ignore that. Don't get distracted.
That is also correct.
Please,
That's also
he took the mic without permission.
But the point I'm making is that as we progress, recently we, in the hiring of chiefs and assistant chiefs in Kotulo sub-county, one of them was a lady, and I was very happy to, when we were releasing their names, to see that there is a lady from the frontier counties who was qualified and willing to serve as a chief, and I think these things will change over time. The other reason why we should not, we came up with NGAPU, the national government administration unit of the police, to help the administrative units, is specifically for that reason, to help chiefs, regardless of their gender, especially enable them to do enforcement. You know that chiefs in Western recently and other parts of the country, including in Mombasa, their houses have been burned while they were pursuing criminals or trying to enforce the law on drugs and abuse of alcohol and so forth. So with this support of NGAPU, it would be easy for the chiefs to be able to do their job. We have also said that because the chiefs undergo paramilitary training, those chiefs that feel their lives are in danger can be licensed to carry firearm based on their request. And if that request is done, as you know, civilians make requests even at the moment and they get the license to carry firearm. So there is no reason why they should not be supported. On the issue of, yes, in terms of where, if the assistant chief is acting and is from this clan and, maybe they have no faith, what I would say is that, yes, it is true that we should be able to expedite the process, but it's also true that once you are a chief or an assistant chief, you should be impartial in your service. The fact that you will do it for your clan or the other is a problem. We keep receiving intelligence reports of some chiefs who are involved in clan fights or intercommunal fights, supporting their clan against the other one. That should not be the case, and that even attracts disciplinary process if such a chief was to be found. So chiefs also, beside coming from certain area with certain clans or certain tribes, especially in border counties where we know that communities are living across each other's border, chiefs must be very sensitive to ensure that they understand that they are serving Kenya. They are not serving their clan or their community. So notwithstanding your concerns, it's very important for the chiefs, as we continue training them, to appreciate that they are serving Kenyans, regardless of their community or their tribe. Yes, I agree with the Vice Chair of the committee that we need to have a determined time period, and I take it as part of the reforms to make sure that we go and agree on, even if the process takes long, but not later than a certain period of time. If we say 6 months or 3 months or 6 months, it should reach a particular period of time that a vacancy should not be, unless really a court order or some other issues. But the normal filling process must have capped timeline, and I take it positively that it will be part of our engagement with Public Service Commission. And then what was the other? Affirmative action. Yeah, I agree. We have already agreed on affirmative. Just on a light note, that Honorable Rosa, she can also leave her husband in bed, or they can go together with the husband. In any case, they signed that for good or for worse, the husband can escort her. She goes and does, and there is no problem. And then I think I have captured generally all the issues that were being raised, except, yes, I think all those issues. Thank you very much. Actually, these processes, even though I am defending here from the ministry, largely the process is introduced from the Public Service Commission. So even as I commit, it's an engagement between the ministry and Public Service Commission to make sure that we streamline the processes to be responsive.
So thank you so much, CS. I think
if with your permission, Mr. Chair,
yes,
I know you had given a particular order of responding to these questions, but there is this very related question of, if I could just summarize it from Kuresoi, which is also on the administrative units, unless a question where the member is not around cannot be responded to because I don't see the member. But it goes together, the answer, it follows. If I can do it for the record.
Do for record, yeah. You know, definitely this is a document of the House.
Yeah.
But at least we keep members who probably have got other engagement and their question has been addressed, like Honorable Manduku. He had already expressed that he may want to step out.
Since it's allowed. Related, it's just 2 minutes.
But now maybe there is a Sigei had asked a question, and I'm sure he had asked on behalf of many Kenyans. That at times we can have some chiefs who are probably interdicted based on maybe allegation of some fake certificates. Later, maybe the court establish the opposite. And it takes a lot of time or forever to have them reinstated. In fact, to give an example, CS, in my own county of Narok, and I'm sure even Beverly knows, there's one chief who unfortunately died on Friday. He just collapsed, heart attack, died. I wanted to, that chief, and Beverly know, somebody, Grandpa or somebody, you know, he has been actually, I think, coming to the office. This chief was interdicted on allegation of fake certificates. Of course, even another chief was put in his place. They went to court, verification of papers were done, and the opposite was confirmed. I think out of those frustration or something and all that related, on Friday, when actually he was attending the wedding of his daughter, I think he got some heart complication, pressure went up, and he died. We are going to bury him on Friday. We cannot able to say maybe that was the cause, but you never rule out. So Sigei is talking on behalf of many, many, many Kenyans who could be undergoing the same. Actually, Kramba, Bifalin, you remember, Bifalin, no, Kramba, he died. Yeah.
So, Chair, I think the case of Ambassador Sigei is Mr. Kitu, right? Yes, and I'm told that his case is still ongoing in the Public Service Commission as a disciplinary issue. Mr. Chair, you know sometimes, let me be very honest, you know sometimes we all know that this chief is indisciplined or some way has committed certain, let me use sins so that I don't use legal, some sins in the village. But to provide the evidence in court may be very difficult. And even there may be no witnesses who go to court. But you can tell as a public officer that if this chief continues to be in office, either sexual offenses are not being dealt with in that area, or he is also being suspected of a similar offense, or is a drunkard, you know, but by virtue of court processes, he remains around, and illicit brews and all that are all going in a particular place. So the challenge is that, yes, you can have a court order saying this person is not, is okay, is not guilty, and so forth. Sometimes we may have to think of maybe giving them even some different clerical work elsewhere to just meet the same concerns you raised earlier, that person must meet certain threshold of integrity when serving in a particular locality. So there has to be a room of some level of discretion without so much vindictiveness on how to deploy such people after they succeed even with a court process to shield the community. Because if that person already had a case and some people are witnesses in their community and so forth, you can see that even his performance is going to be hampered. So maybe we need to have that kind of discretion, maybe even monetary compensation or something for the period of their contract, so that you free and get achieve. As I said earlier, in some areas, it might have been nice in some areas to basically, if it was possible, if our election process was fair and influenced with by money and so forth, it would have been even the best for communities to vote for a chief. I'm telling you the truth, because that is a person that must garner the support, the highest number of the people in the location or sub-location.
Exhaust the follow-up question, the related, so that we dispense this question and you go to the next.
Yeah, the one for Kureso is just straightforward. I'll read it. I don't see Honorable Tono here, but and I think I also responded to this question on the floor. Somebody did a follow-up. So just no wonder the MP is not here, because I already answered him on the floor. But for the record, currently, wait a minute, this is for number 5, so I meant number 4. Number 4. On number 4, Mr. Chair, Kureso, yes, thank you. Mr. Chair, person to powers conferred under Section 14 of National Government of National Act. I think I answered this question, Chair, on the floor. So let me not reread it.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Out of the 13 or 11, 2 already dispensed of.
I answered
you
that.
You did respond on the floor. And then, question from Honorable Koech and one from the Kuresoi.
I don't know if I answered Chepalungu. I don't remember. The one for Victor, which is also one page. Mr. Chair, let me just read. A member of Parliament of Chepalungu constituency, Victor Koech, requested regarding a statement regarding the operationalization of administrative units in his constituency, particularly status of operationalization of Chebunya and Kongasis divisions, report on the delay in operationalization of gazetted units and timelines for activation, and measure taken to align administrative boundaries in the affected areas to ensure constituency with political boundaries, particularly in Nyangore's ward, to avoid residents being disadvantaged during recruitment. Currently, number 1, Mr. Chair, is that currently Chepalungu Sub-County has 2 existing divisions, that is Sigor and Siongiroi. Divisions, the gazetted administrative units in the said sub-counties are as follows. We have Chepalungu, Chepunyo division, which is Tilangok locations and Nogirwet sublocation. We have Kongasis division. We have, these are the locations, Tilangok, Kamongil, Koimiret, Kabisoke, Kapole Seroi, and Kabolwa. And then locations are Nogirwet, Kamasiro, Kamotio, Sokoror Bay, Kipkuror, Mukenyi, Kapsayalel, Kablele, Kimatisio, Kimananga, Kosia, Chebelion, Ak Labotiet. At the moment, the ministry has not received a budgetary allocation to facilitate operation of all gazetted administrative units across the country. Mr. Chair, report on the delay in operationalization of gazetted units and timelines for activation. The current financial year 2024-2025 budget for the ministry unable to accommodate operationalization of the gazetted administrative units. However, once National Treasury allocates funds for the operationalization of these units, the ministry will prioritize and implement the operationalization of administrative units, including those of Chepalungu sub-county. Critical measures taken to align administrative boundaries in the area affected to ensure consistency with political boundaries, particularly in Nyangore's ward, to avoid residents being disadvantaged during recruitment. A critical principle for creation of administrative units is bringing service closer to the public. However, should residents decide to align administrative units to existing political boundaries, the same should be subject to public participation, and the ministry will take necessary administrative action. I actually had a one-on-one conversation with the MP on this issue. The disadvantage of part of the administrative units are in Chepalungu constituency and part are in Bomet East, was it Bomet Central? So, and we have already told him to commence the process of public participation so that we can align it with administrative or political units. So, Chair, I think those are the only relevant questions. I think the question of administrative units was really exhaustively discussed on the floor. In terms of timelines, operationalization, division, sub-counties, and so forth. So allow me to close in that topic.
So,
that issue.
CS, as you close that topic, for the purpose of record and Kenyans who are actually following and interested in this, you remember quite well that, of course, why you were called, and it was the first one because it became a very common everyday question in Parliament. And it became very clear the problem has been always about budgetary. And was the committee who actually oversight the ministry, the rough budget to operationalize all gazetted units stand at around 2.4 billion. I think the PS, when he represented you, said so. And I don't know whether you remember or you acted. The speaker did make a ruling that day, or a directive, that now you tabulate all the units that were pending operationalization, attach the budget, so that between the ministry and us as Parliament, we think and work around on mobilizing resources to have these issues sorted and once for all. I think that was put as requested by the Speaker or directed, and it's 3 weeks. We have not received the same. And you know we are making commitment to hear Kenyans.
Yes. Mr. Chair, the truth is that that information was not submitted during the budget process. But I will replug it and submit to the Speaker's office. But it is within your purview and the budgetary process already. Even when the PS appeared before you, he appeared with the documentation on the same issue. So maybe for just avoidance of doubt, we can resubmit at the end of the day today or tomorrow morning for just avoidance of doubt. But in terms of our budgetary request for 2025, 2026, that information is fully supplied for purpose to support the budgetary process.
Just for record, because even the Speaker directed, you can either through direct or through the committee. Let's have that report through the committee, enumerating all the units and the budgetary gaps, so that we within Parliament also, as an appropriating institution, we can see how to help us.
I will do that latest tomorrow morning.
Okay. Lastly, before you leave there, Kenyans, I don't want to. There is some pronouncements you did make on the issue of promotion of graduate chiefs to either principal chief or ACC. Do you have a policy to support that? And if yes or no, what were you insinuating really, and what is the plan toward the same? And secondly, so that you can able to just respond to that, you know, Kenyans are even writing. They're following. I think on the issue of administrative units, when the peers appeared on your behalf before this committee, so that we discussed this question, we listed several units that at least there's some level of plan to include the 24 sub-counties, the 100-something divisions. It is now a month. Where have we reached in the operationalization, the posting of such officers to this unit, so that Kenyans can be able to get the services? Maybe you can respond to the two, then we take you to the next question.
Let me say, for the promotion of the ACCs, yes, of the chiefs to SCCs. Yes, Mr. Chair, it's already happening, but in small bits. But what we have agreed is that when we advertise the next lot of SCCs, we will ring fence a certain number for the chiefs. Say if you do 100 SCCs, we agree after consultation that we'll do 30 be given to chiefs who meet the qualification, so that they can feel, Mr. Chair, that they will be encouraged. It will encourage them for as long as they meet the minimum qualifications. The same way, all other adverts in other ministries require these positions are reserved for those who are applying internally, and then the rest is externally. So it doesn't need new policy. It is within the framework of public service requirement, but we will now be deliberate to say that this number can go to chiefs, and this number goes to new cadets or new graduates who come from outside the public service sector itself. That, and also in the revision of the policy, we have agreed, based on my public engagement with and the feedback from the chiefs in the Coast region after visiting the 6 counties, we think that it's important now in this review process to have clarity on scheme of service progression. Even for a chief, even if he's not going to be an SEC, they should not stagnate at the place where they were hired perpetually. There has to be a scheme of service that by the time he's retiring at 60 is at a higher level of payment, but also he has been promoted accordingly. So then design which courses must you get at a certain stage and so forth. Again, that is an area, and like the case where it has been that someone is assistant chief from and earning the same amount for 10 years, 15 years, and so forth. The same feedback I got from the SCCs. The SCCs have also stagnated for a long period of time as SCCs, basically because we're all saying, okay, if you promote them, which sub-counties are they going to head and so forth. But there are many places in public service where the SCCs can serve at the rank of DCC. Again, we want to make sure that that is smooth and clear. This is in line with our objective to make sure that there is high morale and there is fairness, there is equity in the public service itself, Mr. Chair. And this was really part of the feedback I got, or we got as a ministry when we went for these public engagements with our officers across the 6 counties that we have visited as at now.
Actually, just so that you respond to that, there is even an anonymous officer who has written, Honorable Mheshimiwa Chair, we are following the proceeding with the CS. Please ask him some question on delay in promotions. Some officers have stayed in one job group for 7 years. That's SCCs. Also, when it comes to training, of course, which guarantees them a career progression, there is a lot of biasness. For example, diploma courses, which is organized by the government, officers employed in 2015 have not attended the Kenya government School of Government, yet officers employed in 2021 have been taken.
Mr. Chair, if you saw my, again, for people who followed the public engagement we had in Coast, the SCC Barasa in Kilifi, for example, made a very passionate presentation, which, Mr. Chair, because he was an SEC in my county when I started politics in 2013, he compared my career progression to his. Mr. Chair said that he saw me campaigning, and now I have moved all the way to being a CS. Almost 14 years later, he's still stagnating in the same position. So it is a very real situation faced by many of these public officers, and we have recently just finished a training for the SECs, about 800 of them, and you will see their promotions happening in the soon, as we promised them. So the process is working on, and once that is done, we'll revisit for the chiefs and the assistant chiefs. Again, they have the same level of complaints that the SCCs are having. And also, that was the case for the DCCs, which is now being sorted. And you know it was also the case for the county commissioners, which they have just finished their interviews. I think the last lot is finishing this week, so that then they can they have been acting as county commissioners for far too long. So again, this is just an area that required some reorganization, and we are doing our best to make sure that it is properly organized and that they are being taken care of, even as they take care of our concerns as citizens of this republic.
Update on the units that we had agreed that we are ready to operationalize?
It's actually when we give the report tomorrow, it should also include the ones that were funded for this financial year, which already we have posted some of the. Where it was easy was to post the DCCs and SCCs, and then now we have to hire for the chiefs and the assistant chiefs. Again, Mr. Chair, now that
agreed the issue of SCCs and DCCs because there is no recruitment and no extra budget per se, apart from AIE.
Yeah.
We fast track them. We're supposed to have almost this.
Mr. Chair, we are doing that, but it's very serious when you send someone to Mukutani, for example, which we have already done, and he has no office where he's going to operate on, or you have sent that person to a place called Koloa, which we have done, but he has no office, he has no vehicle, but because of especially in the security areas, there has been concern that let's just have the officer. So you send them, you don't have AIE, you don't have a car, and you don't have an office. That's why we've done it, because it's easy to do it for the ACCs and DCCs, but it doesn't mean that that the problems have gone away. We'll have to revisit the issue of the vehicles and the AIE. Otherwise, you can send somebody and then he sits in the office there and is unable to go to the field. This is my personal request, and a ministry request actually. It's not only personal, that if we work closely with as yourselves as patrons of the NGCDF and the NGCDF board, we should support, in some cases, minimal infrastructure to enable these officers to have a place they can operate from. And some constituents are already doing the same, and it's helping us to make great progress, even as we jointly look for resources for this infrastructure. The mobility issue, we can see what to do, but the conversation is ongoing with Treasury, and as it was promised, by July, August, we should be able to have some vehicles which have been leased, and then we can see, starting from the most needy areas, see how we can support our officers to go to the field. So the list of the ones we have already posted can be shared tomorrow, together with the other request that was made.
But I will kindly request to move to the next set of questions. I know these ones that got a lot of public interest. The other one may be specific. I'll just. So let's just get Masara 1 minute, then we take the next question in the order. So Mandugu, Chair, in case you want to step out.
Chair, on the issue of training, I have a proposal for the ministry. I know of chiefs who were employed almost 6-7 years ago who has never gone for any training. And that one, whatever they are giving to the public, to be honest, is substandard. You can devolve training in such a way that instead of all of them coming to School of Government in Nairobi, you can take them in counties where they are during holidays, where there are teachers training colleges. The instructor can come to those areas and then they can be trained. Actually, I'm very specific. In my area, I've wrote to you when I was in this committee last parliament, that I was ready to capacity, because we have money in the CDF for capacity building, and chiefs and assistant chiefs are part of our PMCs, you are to bring them to my place. I've never gotten a response to the same. Because in my area, I know chiefs who have been trained the way they handle their work, and the untrained one where there is a gap. So you need to roll this thing down, not because of lack of resources, the government may not train them at the right time at the School of Government. But the lecturers at School of Government, at times they lack what to do. You can have an arrangement with the county so that you can train these chiefs and assistant chiefs at the local level. It will be less expensive but very effective. That's my proposal, Chair.
Two things that we can take from the Honorable Masara. First of all, the schools, the School of Government is already, we are in conversation with School of Government to decentralize the training. Because if you have about 13,000 chiefs and assistant chiefs, it will be unwise to bring all of them to Nairobi, to APTC for the training. So already the process is ongoing for decentralization. maybe then if, which is the second part of your request, if we know that we have a request from a member of parliament who has some resources and is willing to be deployed for training of chiefs, then we can work on a curriculum where the people training is ourselves. I mean, the standard, whatever, the ministry itself, and then the resources can be channeled in an agreed manner to say it will go to School of Government so that they can buy 1, 2, 3, 4, or they can meet accommodation, and then the training and the training curriculum can be done. That partnership, I don't see anything wrong with it. We're already partnering in building police stations. We are building together administrative units. Training for the chiefs will be very, very much welcome. I think let's just work on the curriculum, how it will look like, and the accountability for the same. Yeah, that's all.
Question straight to the warriors and the rest. I know this one's specific to individual counties as opposed to the chiefs.
Maybe in the Senate. I've answered this question before. Mr. Chair, the Honorable Chairperson, members of the committee, the Member of Parliament for Garsen constituency, Honorable Ali Wario, has requested a statement of the fatal shooting of Mr. Isaac Abdullah Jarso by KWS officer. The Honorable Member particularly sought to be informed on the status of the investigation into the killing of Mr. Isaac Abdullah Jarso, excuse me, and steps taken to apprehend the officers involved. Reasons for the shooting to death of Mr. Isaac Abdullah Jarso by KWS officers, action taken to prevent further confrontation between KWS personnel and local herders to avoid similar tragic incidents, measures to enhance good cooperation and relationship between the law enforcement agencies, local communities, and other stakeholders to avoid escalation of such incidents in the future. I wish to state as follows, Mr. Chair, a very long statement, but I also want to confirm that I have engaged the Member of Parliament on this particular issue in his county, in our recent visit to the county, and I appreciate the engagement we had. Mr. Chair, and this, of course, I must answer for the record for Parliament. First, part one, Mr. Chair, the status of the investigations. On 29 December 2024, and on approximately 10:30 hours, a contingent of 23 Kenya Wildlife Service Rangers embarked on an operation to remove cattle and others who had allegedly settled inside Savo East National Park. During the operations, the Rangers encountered Isaac Abdullah Jarso, now deceased, his family and friends at his Manyata. When the Rangers attempted to arrest the deceased, an altercation ensued, escalating into physical confrontation between him, his friends, and the Rangers. This confrontation resulted in the fatal shooting of Isaac Abdullah Jarso. At 10:45 hours, the incident was reported to Garsen Police Station by the area sub-chief of Kone sublocation, Mr. Said Omar, Vide OP number 18/29/12/2024. Officers from the Kone Police Post responded promptly and found the lifeless body of Isaac Abdullah Jarso, a 42-year-old male lying in a pool of blood in his home compound. The body had gunshot wounds on the upper right thigh. Investigations commenced under inquiry number 4 of 2024 of DCI Delta, with officers documenting evidence at the scene, recovering 4 spent cartridges at the scene. The body was moved to Malindi Sub-County Hospital mortuary for preservation, where a post-mortem examination was conducted, confirming that the cause of death was due to gunshot inflicting injuries. As part of the investigation, statements were recorded from the key witnesses, including the deceased wife, 2 friends who were with him at the time of the incident, and 2 brothers who arrived after being alerted about the shooting. Additionally, statements were taken from KWS Rangers involved in the operation. To facilitate forensic analysis, all the 23 rifles used by the Rangers during the operation were collected and escorted to the forensic laboratory in Nairobi for ballistic examination. The ballistic expert report is yet to be finalized. The inquiry file was forwarded to the Director of Public Prosecution via letter number, DCI SEC LCA /4/4/7 volume 11/92 dated 15 January 2025. In response, the ODPP, through letter referenced here, dated 14 February 2025, directed that several additional matters be established through further investigations, including the fire and ballistic report. The matter is still under active investigation by the DCI, and once concluded, appropriate action will be taken against anyone found culpable of the offense. Every effort is being made to expedite and conclude the investigation to ensure justice is served. Reasons for the shooting to death of Mr. Jarso. Mr. Chair, an attempt by the Rangers to arrest the deceased led to an altercation that escalated into a physical confrontation involving the deceased, his associates, and Rangers. During the scuffle, Isaac Abdullah Jarso was fatally shot. From the overview of the incident, it's clear that one or more of the KW officers may have been involved in the fatal shooting of Isaac Abdullah Jarso. However, investigations are ongoing to identify the specific officer responsible through a ballistic analysis to establish which specific firearms discharged the four-spent cartridges recovered from the scene. Once the investigations conclude, our appropriate legal action will be taken against the KWS officers found culpable in the fatal shooting. Number 3, action being taken to prevent further confrontation between KWS personnel and herders. Measures being undertaken include enhancing coordination between security agencies, conducting joint sensitization forums with local communities on conservation, laws and grazing boundaries, increase patrols in high-risk areas, promoting community policing initiatives to foster dialogue, build trust, and ensure peaceful coexistence between wildlife authorities and pastoralist communities. The last part, number 4, Mr. Chair, is the measures to enhance the good cooperation and relation between the law enforcement agencies, local communities, and other stakeholders. The National Police Service has instituted a comprehensive framework aimed at strengthening cooperation and fostering positive relations between the law enforcement agencies, local communities, and other stakeholders to prevent the escalation of conflict and ensure sustainable peace. Key interventions include A, strengthening community policing structures. The government is revitalizing community policing initiatives by establishing and supporting Nyumbakumbi clusters, community policing committees, and dialogue forums that encourage continued engagement between officers and the public. Multi-agency collaboration of all the agencies and sister security agencies to working together. Number 3, civic education and public sensitization. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
To comment or?
Thank you, Chair. I'm not satisfied with the answers. Of course, the late Isaac Jarso was murdered in December. Till date is 4 months, Mr. Chair. The KWS, through a press conference or advert, the following day they accepted that they murdered the Isaac Jarso, and they sent a condolences message to the family. Those officers from DCI, they took those 23 guns the following week to DCI headquarters. Till now, Chair, is 4 months. Is there a problem at the DCI for ballistic tests? Because, Chair, those cartridges were found, the body was found, and those officers went on duty. They were known. You know, that's justice delayed. Justice delayed is justice denied, Chair. And the CS has not given the timeline when this will happen. The arrest will happen, Chair. So I think, you know, the family is crying for justice, and the people of Garsen, the same crying for justice. You know, the life lost, person killed in front of his family, wife and children. It's very sad. You know, he was a madrasa teacher, this guy. Very obedient. And then they said he was killed approximately 23 kilometers inside the park. There is a conflict of boundary. He's not killed inside the park. So, Chair, we want a satisfactory answers for the family and the people of Garsen so that those officers responsible can take into the court. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Waziri, I've listened to you and also I've read through the statement. I think that is why they say sometimes a local action can have a strategic effect, because when we are told that 23 KWS Rangers were going to arrest an armed civilian, and in the process he was fatally shot, I think the sums are not really adding up. And I think this is a clear case of travesty of justice, that the minister is wanting to do a good job or at his headquarters, but somebody at the ground is really trying to make sure that the laws of the land do not add up in the end. So for that reason, the only good thing they did from the beginning is to follow the law, that all those 23 guns were actually confiscated and they were taken for ballistic. That is the law. But I think even among those 23 rangers, there must have been a commander. They must have identified who shot this fellow. If there was even confusion, then it could be between one or two rangers. So for that reason, listening to Honorable Ali there and also your response, I think as a committee, what we really want to ask of you is the DCI must, within the shortest time possible, give us a clear indication of people who must come before the law. Because if up to now nobody is before the court, it simply means this is an incident that will slowly die, will lose trace, and at some point now even files will disappear. So for that reason, I think the honorable member is very clear, and also you are very clear in your response. Please give us a timeline so that people must do their work. Thank you, Honorable Chairman.
Chairman, I also wanted to echo the same, that what is clear in this matter is that the KWS Rangers had a singular purpose in this case, to go and kill the person they intended to arrest. Because as the Vice Chair says, 23 guns, and somebody shot in his own compound. The matter has taken 4 months. It appears it is a strategy, more or less, so that, the matter cools, the public forgets, and then justice is lost. So, Chair, it is important that the Minister pushes the DCI, because there is no reason whatsoever why the DCI is acting slow in this matter, so that justice is finally gotten for the bereaved family. It is important, Chair, that it is expedited. Otherwise, let it not be a strategy, because this is a very poor person, so that the family loses. Thank you.
Because I don't think there is no much really point to belabor on this, because it's extremely very worrying. 4 months down the line, in fact, from your own report, it's a clear admission by the KWS that, of course, they did shoot. The only question was, which gun discharged the bullet? And as you're aware, it is under your docket. We have been allocating a lot of resources to the DCI, to including the forensic lab, so that the issue of forensic and ballistic becomes speedy. So the easy conclusion here, it's not rocket science. Somebody somewhere must be trying to cover up. That is the only conclusion and reason you can give. So I want to direct us this so that we don't belabor on this. Kindly, Buenos, it was not just for formalities and that we call you and this statement was sought. Maybe you can tell us maybe how much time you need so that you can able to follow up and give us a follow-up question, a satisfactory question that is convincing that justice is being done to this poor Kenyan. Kindly.
Mr. Chair, unlike many other cases, first of all, let me say that we need to appreciate that this was done expeditiously. for a file to leave DCI to DPP is not, it can show the goodwill in the first place, that the question of cover-up is not there. The desire for the DCI to make sure that someone is prosecuted was there. It's just that the DPP wants certain loose ends be tied together. And so the intention to prosecute this person is there. And I don't think there is room for cover-up, because what's all remaining is the ballistic report.
It's very crucial.
Which is very crucial, and it's not going anywhere because you can't hide anymore. There's nothing to hide. You have the spent cartridges, you have the process being undertaken by DCI. I also want to confirm that I visited DCI when I became CS in this ministry, like 2 months ago, yes, February. And so, Chair, you need to really still support the lab. The lab requires a lot of resources, not just the fiscal resources we're giving, not just the money to buy a lot of the laboratory equipment, but you also need retention of human resource so that they can be able to retain human resource at a certain level. You also know that we have so many cases involving guns across the country. So there's a long line of ballistic analysis on different crimes, banditry, robberies, and so forth across the country. And so this is part of it, of the process. So, and sometimes each one of them is urgent. All of them are urgent. The magistrate is demanding the report to be presented in this. The DPP is demanding a report. So I can give assurance to the public that in the fullness of time, this person will be charged. There is no escape route. Somebody somewhere will be charged. The same way I gave the same undertaking on the case of Nakuru, which was also involving KWS. Maybe at some point, we need to perhaps have a meeting with the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife, and particularly DG KWS, on disciplinary cases involving a number of the officers in KWS, not just in that area, but across, and how best that can be handled. You know, for the police, we have the internal mechanism within the police, and we have IPOA. So how do we handle the KWS? Do they have a mechanism internally to be able to deal with these officers? Do they even have processes of suspending these people until their case is concluded? So even if they have not been charged, they should be able to take internal disciplinary measures until you can prove that the specific officer was involved. Like every other Kenyan, it concerns me that 23 people went to arrest one person. There is no evidence that that person was armed with a gun, and that eventually, you had to use a gun for 23 people against one person. I think it's an armed individual. So in the presence of his family, I think it is a matter of justice, and we must be able to follow this issue to the ultimate conclusion. So, Mr. Chair, maybe in our next session, you can prompt me, even if it is on different issues. We can be, by that time, we should see how far we have gone. I do not also wish to, because the police and the DCI operates independently, and I cannot direct them, I do not also wish to give an undertaking that in 1 month it will be done. But using our good officers, we must be able to facilitate and push them to do so. But what we will not allow is a situation where there will be cover-up in the end.
So do we say, fair to say, in good time?
Why don't we revisit this issue again in another 3 months and say in 3 months we can give an update as to how far we've gone, and maybe at that point in time we can come with the DCI himself so that he can also express some of the challenges he's facing. But hopefully in those 3 months, both the case of Nakuru and the one for Tana River will have gone to court, because you can see also DPP was dissatisfied on certain issues. At some point, it will leave the DCI, it will go to the DPP and to make a judgment on the prosecution.
Anyway, while on that, so that I give Wario or Liz, you raise a very, very pertinent question on definitely the role of the IPOA vis-a-vis the issue of gun rangers and other gun holders. Of course, their mandate is very limited to the police. And I think it's a conversation. I remember there is a bill being proposed by, I think, Senator Fobomet or something like that. Try to expand the mandate of the IPOA to include the game rangers. Because even these rangers in the game reserves by the counties, I remember the CS, our very good CS here, we went to Narok to launch these rangers to be NPR. And they have got very sophisticated guns. And at times, the regulations around how these guns are controlled is not very good by CS. And it's good to admit that. You can even able to do an investigation. They don't report to our police command. And at times, these gun holders, including the game rangers, they become a militia of governors. In fact, in my own county, it is almost akin to that. It's an issue that we may bring to attention very soon. They don't report to any command of the police. They just become a militia of a governor. Of course, I'm also interested to be one, but I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. So I think because it's not a subject of the day, it's an issue that we are considering as a committee, really, to have an engagement with the ministry on how we are going to farm up the loose end on the issue of these guns. So let's get really just a minute and Wario, so that we close this and go to the next. Yes.
Thank you, Chair, for this opportunity. I just wanted to ride on the question by Honorable Wario, and I'm happy that the CS is reporting that he's aware about the Nakuru matter, and I really want to thank him because the other day he was in Nakuru, he was able to speak to the parents. But I'm happy that, again, he has repeated that he is going to bring all these reports in 3 months. But CS, it is so scaring to discover that the people who are supposed to protect the lives of the people are the ones killing these innocent people. And what I want to ask today as a member of this committee, as a leader from Nakuru, if someone is found to be having maybe he has done some mistake, I don't think it is right for the security people to kill instead of arresting and taking them to court instead of killing. It is a concern, and it's really bringing a lot of problems everywhere. As parents, we cannot allow this. As leaders, we cannot allow this. But I want to thank you because you've committed yourself that in 3 months you'll bring a report that will speak on Honorable Warriors and the Nakuru matter that concerns the KWS and Kenya Forest Service, where 2 people lost their lives, and parents are still waiting for the reports. Thank you.
Protas, you want to talk about it?
Yes, on the same, on
the killing. Then we give a...
Thank you, Chair. For the purposes of record, my name is Protas Akuja, Member of Parliament for Loima constituency. Chair, I think KWS has been spot on killing innocent people. A case in point is where KWS sprayed bullets using an helicopter in Turkana, in Lake Turkana. Members of Parliament for those particular constituencies, especially Turkana North and Turkana Central, raised a statement. And that statement has not come in the floor of the House or even in this committee. And efforts to reach even the DG for KWS has been futile. And I think that case came way back, like somewhere in February. And that case, nobody has followed. So KWS has gone even beyond using helicopters to spray innocent people and kill them, and they are not taking it anywhere. So CS, you need to comment on that because that has been raised several times and nobody is giving an ear. Thank you.
So before Kaikai, Honorable CS, I want you to note on the issue of the Lake Turkana, actually it came to the House severally, and even the Speaker suggested that we had a joint meeting between the Interior and the DG, KWS. But the DG, KWS, I'm sorry to say, he became dodgy. And so kindly give, this is your docket. I think I follow up on what suggestion of my colleague. Maybe you look away of convening a joint so that we see the intervention on the killing of
Kenyans in Lake Turkana by the KWS. So maybe let's give Kaikai, then Wario, you will wrap up and we close this.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. For the CS, we see it in the corporate, we see it in developing societies. Because when we ask about how long will it take to finish a forensic test, we're talking of 3 months. Is it possible within your plan, as part of good practice, to ensure that there is a documented process flow so that where you sit or where the PS sits, if in the event there's an issue, a similar issue coming up, we can say within 14 days, if a gun or the remains are provided, we are able, you can say it on top of your, that look, within 14 days we'll have this sort of a process flow. Because if you talk to your counterparts in developed societies, they will actually tell you we can get it even within 72 hours. You've mentioned the issue of laboratories. With our friendly devolved partners, because when you talk about budget, we're struggling as a country in terms of funding, but have we made efforts to speak to our traditional friends? An example, to even plant here a laboratory, which in the process they'll also give you trainers, and they'll also ensure that there's that continuous improvement in terms of technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate also the CS for trying to give justice to the family. Also, Chairman, the CS said the NPS or the DCI, they're independent. So I am kindly requesting the committee also separately to invite the DCI to come and explain, because this matter is very weighty. The CS said he has answered in the Senate. No action has been taken, and now before the National Assembly. I'm kindly requesting, because this matter has really brought stress even to the community. Your able PS was there with the president, I think in June. The same place, Connie. In fact, president felt for them, he gave them sub-county. You know, those people live far away from Garsen. Around 167 kilometers from Garsen. There is no police presence. Last parliament, we built a police, a very big one. It still is a police post. When the matter comes, they report to Garsen. So I think CS also, you promised to come and open the Tarasa sub-county. I think you should do it as soon as possible for those people to get justice and government service closer to them. So I'm kindly requesting the committee, if possible. I'm not doubting the response by the CS, but 3 months is long, Chair. He said in 3 months. 3 months is very long. So
I think the CS was clear on that point, that of course having the file already with the DPP, we give him some allowance to engage the independent, of course, institution.
Chair, I'm requesting
okay, I'm suggesting
for the time.
We are concerned as you are. We know an innocent Kenyan has lost life unnecessarily. So because the CS is in charge and of course responsible with the policy and directive, normally we have a very close interaction and engagement. Maybe once we come back from the recess, we're able to give an update. If necessary, we may call again the CS with the DCI to come.
Most obliged, Chair.
Just quickly, Chair, so that we finish on this issue. First, let me appreciate that there are policy issues that are coming from this question, which are beyond the death of Mr. Jarso and also Brian Odhiambo in Nakuru and other places. The question of how do you hold accountable KWS rangers across the country?
Even county rangers?
Yes, I will come to the county one, but for KWS and KFS, KWS and KFS, there is no reason, in my opinion, why this committee cannot propose an amendment to the IPOA Act to include all the armed, as long as not the Kenya Defense Forces, these all other armed agencies or institutions in the country to come under the IPOA oversight, so that then they know that, you know, there's a watchdog that is watching them. But there's also no reason why the KFS itself and KWS cannot have internal mechanisms of a separate internal mechanism that deals with the rangers themselves, so that you can be able to deal with these questions of discipline and perhaps improve on training. I'm not saying the police don't have the same problem, that they do. But as soon as it happens, we have a POA in place, we have the internal mechanism we have, and now it's acceptable, even within the police command, that there is no need to defend a police officer who has committed excesses because he is operating outside the requirements of the law. We only defend police officers who perhaps found themselves in a fight with armed groups and so forth. But for somebody who goes to kill an innocent civilian, the law is very clear when it comes to the police, but it should extend to KWS and KFS. On the part of the Kenya, the KPR, Kenya Police Reservist, or National Police Reservist, who are either operating as rangers in counties or the security we are using in different places, I don't think, Mr. Chair, there is a reason why IPOA should not be involved. I don't know why. Because they are police reservists. They are part of the National Police Service. They are even coordinated from the headquarters of the IG's office. So there is absolutely no reason. Indeed, cognizant of the challenges we have in terms of command and control of the KPR or the NPR, we have now working on the revised policy that is ongoing. In fact, working together with NPS. I should be meeting the team tomorrow to update how far they have reached, because we want to have clarity. You know, we have 10,000, although we are not very clear because of the old KPR team. When I went to Tana River, I remember Honorable Ali, that, you know, people are saying we have even KPRs who are over 80 years old, because they were registered in 1960s, 1970s. Nobody has followed up where they are. They have their old wooden gun, you know. In this policy, we want to make sure that everybody is registered, everybody is accountable to an OCS in the neighborhood. We have clarity of when do you cease to be an NPR. You know, if you are aging or you become, in fact, in some places, the old KPR, they consider the gun as a family property. So it's always handed over from there to this son, to this uncle, you know, so because there was no clarity of policy on how to manage it. Now that we have up to 400 in one county, 500 in one county, it's important that they are all organized so that they don't become, they don't support criminal activities in where they are. They are accountable to the OCS, but also accountable to IPOA and accountable to the National Police Service, because 10,000 is a critical number. NPR plays a very critical role. Most of these MPs that come from marginalized areas, they think the only request is NPR. When they come, they say, please, we want the NPR. They don't even ask for further deployment of police officers. They ask for locally the NPR. So as we increase the numbers, we want to make sure that the policy. I promise that in the next 2 months, we should be done with this process so that we bring it to this committee. And then we can have a workshop to discuss it. And then we continue with the stakeholder engagement. And eventually, we will have clarity on command. Where law needs to be amended, we will then leave it to the committee with the proposals of amendment so that they can do the amendment. But at the moment, it is standard operating procedures that we want to put in place for the NPR. The last thing is...
So maybe says, because I know Masara wanted to say something, for your information, actually, not surprisingly, the issue of the very ordinary NPR, which we are using in our North Rift, the north part of the country, I don't want to emphasize the importance. Yeah. Actually, the problem we have, and I'm talking out of experience, is, of course, even the game rangers. Yes. Because now their recruitment is done by the county governments. Of course, their remuneration done by the same. And majority of the time, they recruit their supporters. So here are supporters who are armed with sophisticated guns. Of course, we then have the road governors. They convert these people to be part of their militia or organizing group. I'm sorry to use that word, because of course, exceptionally, they're good ones. But now, because I don't want to bring that, it's a big topic, and I think it is a conversation that we will plan. We have been having issues as committee, so that if need be to affirm some loose end in our acts, we need to, because like in Narok, I've given you an example, you are also a constituent there. They don't respond to any command of our police. It is the employees of the governors, they're the support group of our governor, and these are armed people. But now, maybe we don't open that, but
no,
we
the
are
point I was just saying is that rangers are KPR or NPR. I wish that understanding was fast achieved. So what we are doing in the policy proposal is to see how then these rangers can be answerable to the OCS in the next door, and where do they interact with the county police, county security committee or sub-county security committee. That nexus is what is missing, both for rangers, and you know rangers are in Narok, Marsabit, they are in Laikipia, they are in Isiolo, they are in Samburu, they are in Tana River. So a number of these places across the country, and I don't know if Turkana have the rangers also for county government, but it is important that, and you know, the interesting bit of the rangers actually is that they can do a very good job. In Laikipia, for example, they have been very supportive in terms of fighting banditry, and in some, I went to one of the ranches, conservancy, sorry, and I was shown the way they are kitting their rangers, the way they are giving proper guns, of course, with the permission of government, and that technology they use, including drones, has helped in banditry in that area. In fact, I feel like I wish there was a way we would be organizing all the NPR across the country. But of course, you know, they're paid better, you know, they are kitted better. And so we can get value from these rangers. I don't think we properly organized and with proper view of the police service, they can be of great help. And the ones in Laikipia have been of great help in recovery of livestock, including recently where the Conservancy is also offered, including their aerial power to support recovery of a lot of livestock in the neighborhood. So there's a benefit that comes with it. I don't really think that there's anything wrong with the county government establishing and putting these people. And ordinarily, if you are employed at the time of, if the governor is Honorable Tongoyo, and you have been employed at that time, generally, as human beings, some loyalty is here and there. But as long as they're trained and they appreciate that that loyalty cannot go beyond certain boundary because you are an armed officer of a national government, then they will know that they will be held into account. And if we bring IPOA to the mix, it doesn't matter who supported me to be in office, I will try to act independently. And it's also, of course, source of also livelihood and employment locally. So there is a lot of benefits that come with it, including in the conservancies.
We'll close this. Masara, you want to say something? Is it a comment or a question?
It's just a comment. PS and CS, the path you are following is very good, but I took a different path. Why do you think 23 men with a gun shooting one person without a gun? It is a mental issue and psycho support issue. That's why I have a bill, and this bill was generated as a result of a research which was done. Now that you see now, in my first term as a parliamentarian, I concentrated on the police officers because these issues were more of in the police officers. But you see now we are bringing KWS, many cases where they are killing other people. So this bill, Chair, I support you. I thank you for supporting it in the third reading. Why don't you go through it so that maybe we can include KWS and other bodies, because the research indicated very clearly that our men and women in uniform are facing a lot of psychosocial support issues. And the bill is going to bridge the gap. So before it concluded in the third reading, maybe we can see, because in the third reading we are able to include other clauses. So maybe the ministry can go through it so that we fast track it. It will help our men and women in uniform who are carrying guns, because there must be a problem why there are rampant cases of them shooting civilian. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, sorry, I forgot to respond to Honorable Kakai's question on the lab. The lab requires, I agree with him that in some cases we need to work together with our development partners who are willing to support the equipping of the lab. But, you know, this is a security sector. The first priority should, or the first point of call should be the government of Kenya, where it should be ourselves putting resources to this. But I agree with him that where we have traditional partners that we can work together, we can work with them to ensure that we equip the lab. And again, when I engage the DCI, it's not just about, we may have time to discuss the question of forensics and evidence and the need for us to finance that sector. You know, because of the competing issues of budgetary concerns, there are even places like, for example, government chemist, extremely important, yeah? But where are the funds? They are generally underfunded, yet they are extremely important in collection of evidence and in prosecution. Part of the reason why there is the delay in the Shakahola closing of the cases is because of the government chemist's capacity. So we need to work towards this. But we have made strides in government. We should not look like we are crying throughout. We have made a lot of strides. But you know, Kenyans are demanding cutting-edge technology, cutting-edge investigations in the shortest time possible, but we have to balance our ability to finance these processes with also the competing interests in different sectors, including in the social and educational sector. On the Tarasa sub-county and the Kone police station, we agreed that we will equip Kone police station and we will operationalize Tarasa, and I look forward to us going back to Tana River to make sure that that is done, because some of these areas government is very far. And as been explained, you need to go to these marginalized counties to realize the real reason why sub-counties are being created is to cover the vastness of these areas. There may be no much population, but, you know, every life matters, and we must be able to do so. And Mr. Chair, I wanted to clarify that when we talk about rangers, it's not just rangers for the county government. Also conservancies have rangers. So all these rangers and everybody need to be organized. And this bill we are working on and the policy we are working on, actually the policy we are working on, shall answer all these issues. One of the reasons why I'm fairly passionate about reorganizing KPR is because I come from an affected area. And so as a senator, I've seen it through, where you give people guns, you have not trained them, they are not accountable to anybody, so you are not sure which day they will join the crooks and which time they are going to defend the government and the people. So it is important for us to make sure that we organize this issue. Thank you very much, and I think we have exhaustively for now engaged on that issue. Oh, no, something Piers has just reminded me here. You might need to have a meeting separately. Maybe jointly with the Committee of Wildlife and Tourism to discuss this issue of KWS, and perhaps also another meeting on with KFS, because these issues keep coming. And you know, the police, they see this as colleagues. So before even an enforcement is done, if you see the amount of delay that occurred in Nakuru in terms of the access and search for the body of Brian Odhiambo, it was because there were protocols that the police had to get in terms of you have to write, it has to be escalated to DG's office before access is gained to the park. You know, that was totally unnecessary, and I think it's some of those issues that need to be dealt with, because if the police quickly access the park, perhaps evidence would have been, we would have gotten the evidence related to the arrest or arrest of Mr. Brian Odhiambo. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So you can move to the next question, but on the last part, I think I'm going to suggest, or direct rather,
we're going to have a joint meeting, as suggested by the CS and the PS, between ourselves and the Committee on Wildlife, where your office and the KNWS will be represented so that we can exhaust such concerns. So the next question from Honorable Hussein Barre.
So, Chair, that's question number 3. I'd like to respond as follows. Honorable Chairperson, members of the committee, the Member of Parliament for Tabach constituency, Honorable Hussein Barre, has requested a statement regarding the rampant cases of human trafficking in northern Kenya. The Honorable Member particularly sought to be informed on 1, a comprehensive report on the investigation into human trafficking in northern Kenya and the country, including investigations into the operations of involved recruitment agencies. Mr. Chair, according to reports on missing persons, the police have confirmed several cases of human trafficking where individuals lure youth with promise of a better future abroad. The details are as follows. In Mandera, for example, on 27th, OB number 27/3012 of 2024, Halima Hassan Sheikh, a resident of Bula Mpya and a member of Somali Ogaden subtribe, reported that her 19-year-old daughter, Nasteha Mohammed Sheikh, a grade 8 student at Bula Mpya Junior Secondary School, left home on 29th of December 2024 at around 10:30 hours to visit the Mandera town market to purchase a pair of shoes, but did not return. Efforts to reach her via phone were unsuccessful. DCI officers launched an investigation and established that she had crossed the border into Ethiopia via Suftu. Through collaboration with officers from Ethiopia, she was intercepted on 6th of January 2025 in the Gode region while en route to Addis Ababa. She revealed that she had been befriended by a man on Facebook who had promised to take her to Germany, and he had planned to meet her in Addis Ababa. However, she refused to disclose her Facebook account details to investigators, claiming her phone had crashed. Due to lack of cooperation from both her and her parents, she was eventually handed over to her family. On OB number 2719/11/2024, Mandera Police Station again, Abdirahman Nur Ahmed, a resident of Bula Kamor, reported that his 17-year-old son, Zakaria Abdirahman, a Form 2 student at Kamor Mixed Secondary School, went missing on 18th of November 2024 at around 600 hours. Before his disappearance, he had informed his brothers, indicating his intention to travel to Libya through Ethiopia in pursuit of a better life. Efforts to locate him are ongoing in collaboration with Ethiopian authorities and Kenya KDF liaison officer in Ethiopia. Again, in Mandera Police Station, OB number 5912 of 2025, Bilal Ali Nur Muhammad went missing on 21st of February 2021, but the matter was never reported to the police. His family later discovered that he was being held captive in Libya, where kidnappers demanded a ransom of 2,350,000. His parents, Hussein Ibrahim Mohammed and Rama Isaac Hassan, made the payment through the Bashil money transfer on 7th Street, Eastleigh, Nairobi. The money was sent to Siad Nur Mohammed in Kismayo, Somalia, and Hinda Ibrahim Mohammed in Mogadishu. The case remained unreported until 12th March 2025, when Bilal contacted his mother from an undisclosed hospital in Tunis, Tunisia, claimed that he had been shot in both legs. He revealed that after being abducted to Libya, he managed to escape in November 2023 alongside other captives, including 2 Kenyans from Mandera, who are now caring for him in hospital. He also identified Bilal Shukri Ahmed, a 31-year-old Kenyan of the Kodia ethnicity, as the person who facilitated his movement. Following this information, angry members of the public attacked the alleged human trafficker. However, NPR officers on patrol intervened, rescuing him and placing him in custody at Mandera's police station. The case was handed over to APTU in Mandera detachment for further investigation. On 14th March 2025, the suspect was arraigned before Mandera Law Courts under the case number MCCR 01825, where a 21-day custodial order was granted. The case is set for mention on April 4th, 2025. It was set for mention that day, and with ATPU Mandera detachment handling the investigation. Preliminary findings indicate that certain individuals are involved in hoodwinking the youth with various promises of a brighter future abroad. Investigations are ongoing to determine whether these individuals are affiliated with recruiting agencies or organized groups. Number 2, measures being taken to ensure that the families and individuals who suffer these atrocities get justice and rehabilitation. The following measures are being taken to ensure that the families and individuals who suffer these atrocities get justice and rehabilitation. Implementation of victim-centered approaches. Measures are in place to prioritize the well-being of victims, including immediate rescue operations, legal aid, and psychosocial support to help them recover from their experiences. B, collaboration between law enforcement and humanitarian agencies. A coordinated framework has been strengthened to facilitate the reintegration of rescued victims, ensuring they receive the necessary support to rebuild their lives. C, action against traffickers and recruitment agencies. The police is actively investigating and acting upon information on recruitment agencies and suspicious individuals involved in trafficking, leading to their apprehension and being arraigned before court. D, community awareness and education. Awareness campaigns are being conducted to educate communities and recognizing and reporting human trafficking cases, empowering them to play a role in prevention and intervention efforts. Number 3, long-term measures being put in place. The following long-term measures are being implemented to address the case of human trafficking in the country and formalize labor exports from the country. Strict enforcement of labor migration regulation. Existing laws governing labor migration are being strictly enforced to prevent exploitation, to ensure safety of migrant workers. As you must have seen, Mr. Chair, there's a lot of reports also, not just in the northern part, but in Nairobi and Kisii and Nakuru and Eldoret, where this some recruitment agencies are operating and exporting Kenyans in quotes, trafficking them to dangerous destinations, including Iraq, including places like Saudi and other parts of the world, including Turkey and other places. Investigation and analysis of human traffickers. Enforcement agencies are actively identifying, apprehending, and arraigning before court persons involved in human trafficking. C, imposition of deterrent punishment. The courts are awarding strict penalties to those found guilty of human trafficking to discourage further involvement in such activities. And D, enhanced border security and scrutiny. Security measures along Kenya northern border have been tightened to curb illegal migration and trafficking activities. 5, community sensitization awareness campaign, which is ongoing, and deployment of security officers for surveillance and intelligence, and finally strengthening collaboration with stakeholders, which includes NGOs, international organizations, governments, like the case of Ethiopia, and this cooperation is disrupting trafficking routes, which mainly are leading to Arab countries. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Waziri, for the attempt. Waziri, I must say this issue is quite serious in northern Kenya and also in the country. And there is a need, the youth are really taking advantage of because of the widespread unemployment that is across the country. So there is a need actually to sensitize the communities and probably use the provincial administration, the chiefs on the ground. Some effort has to be put so that they take a lead role in sensitizing the public. And also, attempt must be made because from my investigation, casual investigation, there are people who are recruiters in different towns who are recruiting these youth, giving them hopes of better lives in other areas. And if time is taken by the security agency, these people can be found. So some people must serve as an example to the others so that it rings a bell in everybody who is participating in these activities. Let's also do serious sensitization on our youth, on the dangers that they face. I know this is coming on and off, and I'm sure, I was told there are 25 young girls from Wajir who are stranded across Libya and those North African countries as they head to Europe. So this is just a small report, but I must say this is seriously widespread. People's organs are being sold in the markets across board. So this is seriously something that's affecting Kenyans and the young people. So deliberate effort from your office through your provincial administration structures, this station has to be done. And we must have some people who will serve as an example. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And Waziri, if you have realized when you are going through your statement, most of the OPs were from Mandera. This is an issue that is giving us headache as politicians from those areas. Because a mother who has never handled 10,000 shillings, never, her kid just goes, they are brokers. Around Isli, around Nairobi, they're here. They're here. They're not any other place. They're here. They don't charge any shilling when they're taking them. When they take them there to Libya or any other places, now they are told, go and talk to your parents, let them send 3 million shillings. The mother has never handled even 10,000 shillings. Then they come to the politicians now. I have personally contributed to, mothers are crying, their kid, they send a video. Some of them shot live. They are shot at the, at the leg. Others are beaten with heavy, you cannot imagine what they are doing. The videos are here in my phone. It will shock you. Now they have to go around the communities. They go around all the leadership. They contribute the money. Some succeed now. Once you send that 3 million shillings, they succeed and go back, go to maybe Germany or UK or any other place. Then the youth now can see the person who has been beaten and the video there is now sending money to the families. Then others are all going. Just last week, 2 ladies were slaughtered in Libya, 2 of them from my constituency. In fact, one had 1 kid. She left the kid with her sister, then said she's going to the market. She's just going. When she went to Libya, I think they hold her for 2 weeks. When they missed the money, they slaughtered her. They sent while they were the dead body. You cannot imagine what is happening. So I think what the ministry needs to do, Waziri, these people are here, they are not far. They are here. Our security agents can investigate and get hold of these people. If you get hold of the culprits, then you are done. You are done. I think we need to show an example to those people who are trafficking our youths. And because they have no job, they have no employment, they have no otherwise. Just 5 weeks ago, the son to my sister who was in my sister's home here in South Sea, we missed him. After looking for the boy for 3-4 days, I used my my network in our police, our NIS. We got hold of him from Sudan, or en route to those areas. They boarded him at Kenya Airways, and I took him from here. This is a problem that is there, and we cannot ignore. I think we need quick action.
I think, Chairman, given the concern, I think, Waziri, you need to take a deliberate action. This calls for a collective effort, the local leadership and your office, because it appears that we have so many small cells that are recruiting people. In fact, you cannot say these are recruitment agencies. These are just criminal individuals. They are not registered anywhere, and they are doing their work freely. So if you take a deliberate action to mobilize the leadership in northern Kenya, so that this information, because I also understand that in some areas, people hardly open up and give information to security agencies. But with this information that is coming and is very alarming, it is important to have that and move. And secondly, it is also important that our intelligence service, if the cells are around Isli that are recruiting, this is an urban area. It is very easy to track and disable these individuals instead of just letting them run amok and mess up with the security situation of our country. Thank you.
Chair, when you listen to these stories from the honorable members, it is a very weighty issue. And when I see us, I think we need to look at some deliberate measures on how to curb this problem. My concern is about the news we normally get in the newspapers and all this, that some people have traveled from Moyale and they are arrested in Isiolo. So
how do they come to Isholo? There are roadblocks all over. So we need to know, because there's a lot of money involved. It's a lot of money. It's actually business. So, when I see yes, I think we need to address this issue from the source of problem, particularly the agents who are here. And then also, we need to look at our police, our security officers, particularly those who have stayed in a place for a very long time. So they get used to these things. I mean, it's business for them also. So we need to be changing officers who are in these areas so that they can be able to, those who are there are not used to these things, so that we are able to curb this problem. So that is one of the problems that we need to get. I know unemployment is a serious thing. Of course, it is worldwide, but we need to really be serious as security people, address these cartels. Actually, they are cartels, which we need to address, and address it seriously. NIS must play a bigger role, because they know these people. So that we will be able to arrest them, get them arrested, lock them in, take them to court. So, Chair, I think that's an issue which we need to address. Thank you.
Chair, thank you. I just want to sympathize with the police. I sympathize with the police because, like Mheshimiwa Waitan says, a girl leaves her child with a sister and says she's going to the market, yet she knows she's already made plans to go to Libya, etc. But now it doesn't become the girl's problem. It becomes the police's problem. So indeed, the police really have a heavy responsibility that this is happening, and don't allow yourself to be fooled. If then they allow themselves to be fooled, the police will help in looking for them. But it's to curb that the problem, it will not just be a police problem solely. You know, we must sensitize, and it's upon us to actually do that sensitization. Because otherwise, the police cannot be everywhere all the time when this young girl is talking to this man on a Facebook, whatever, you know. So we also have to play our part. The police, we know we don't have enough, and we know they don't have enough to go around the population. But as leaders, for me, listening to these stories, I'm like, hey, even the police, I sympathize with them without saying that they shouldn't do their job. But we as leaders, we can also take an active role and go on a sensitization program in our communities. That might also help some of these girls, because many of them are naive and they are just looking at the hope or the promise of a better life. But if you sensitize them, probably they'll think twice before they fall into those traps.
So, yes, I don't know whether majority were just comment. Maybe the vice wanted to add something.
Thank you very much, Waziri. I think I want to say that this is much bigger than you. It is about the society. When a Muslim girl going to secondary school or even primary school goes to the market, it is not the tradition of the Muslim, because she must be escorted by the brother, the father, or the mother, so long as she is not married. So the first drawing board, we must go back to the society. To really have, we must restore some discipline and order in the society. Secondly, this issue of human trafficking, it is linked to drug trafficking, it is linked to arms trafficking, it is also linked to terrorism. Last night I was driving from Marsabit, and I stopped at 6 roadblocks, together with one at Aicha's post, where we have the multi-agency. And every of these askaris are going to inspect, they are going to check the IDs. But they could have just flagged me to just go through, but as courtesy, and also I wanted to observe, I stopped and I told them I want to wait. But in the process, what I have come to learn is drugs like Bang leave Ethiopia, they pass through Moyale, then they come all the way to Turbi, to Marsabit, to Laisamis, to Achas Post, Isiolo, and then it finds itself in Nairobi. Then you ask yourself, what is the purpose of all these roadblocks? Then it means something is not adding up. That so long as our security agencies, there's complicity in them doing their work, then we are unlikely to resolve the conundrum of what is happening in our country. So for that reason, really my request to you is, recently there's this case of people going to Vietnam and Thailand, Cambodia. What we really want to see is people before court. The media brings all this drama, and then it dies down. But people are in business, people who are doing this. So unless people are before court, and I'm told most of these traffickers are people who hold big money. So they will go to the police station and they excuse themselves to come back another day, not to even to record a statement. So we need to close the loop in terms of who are these people who are involved, so that everybody must have their day before justice. A lady from Mandera is going to give 3 million. Where do you think that money is going to come from? It comes from politicians. Will these politicians have this money? Most likely not. They borrow from all of you. That, oh, please, you send me something. Eventually, it puts the country in a lot of financial difficulties, because that could just be one case that is before us. Which are these many cases that we don't know about? The other thing is this community policing. Unless we have a very effective community policing, so that an incident happens, the child disappears for 2 hours, the community around there must know. The police must know, so that there is alert. But once it becomes normal, disappearance becomes normal, then I think you are unlikely from where you sit to enforce the law or to direct the police in one way or another. Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Chair, I totally agree with the comments, and I appreciate the comments from the members. This thing of human trafficking, as you know, is a serious global problem, okay? And we have laws here, we have institutions globally. It manifests itself in, in very different forms, some of which are very subtle. For example, if you're talking about the people who are going to Myanmar, Vietnam, and all those other countries, ordinarily, they will just go through the normal recruitment agencies, and then, you know, the process is processed, and they're saying people are going there, they are going to do official jobs, and then when they reach there, they are used for sexual exploitation and other things. So it's also important that we look at these things holistically in mapping out, for example, the labor agencies. We need to have few registered non-labor migration agencies. We also need to make sure that the society is aware of this, what is trafficking, you know, and you know, before someone allows their child to go out of the country, they should be able to know where they're going, which job, where is the application letter, and so forth. But again, they also take advantage of illiteracy. That's why they go for the marginalized areas where literacy levels are very low. I don't know. This is just off my head. I don't want to be a roadside declaration kind of a person. But I think at some point, like we have established other special units, perhaps a special police unit for human trafficking will have to be established at some point. It might be actually necessary, so that even if it is not a fully-fledged, that it is all over, but a smaller unit that thinks through, coordinates the assesses the patterns, receives the intelligence report, and works with the officers on the ground. It might be necessary to have special unit to deal with human trafficking. We already have a unit that deals with the anti-narcotics unit. Again, we have already had a lengthy discussion with NACADA. We think that NACADA's proposal is that this anti-narcotic unit needs to be strengthened. The IG is working on how best it can be made stronger. In his own words, in the words of the IG, he would like to see it to be at the same level with anti-terror unit, because also narcotics and drugs are becoming a problem with us. So in the coming days, we will be seeing a more bolstered, strengthened anti-narcotic unit. And I think that emanating from this discussion, a thinking around human trafficking unit might be necessary to confront the new challenges that we are facing as a country. As you can see, the cases I read here go back to 2020, 2019. You know, it's been an old case. Then, as Vice Chair said, it's linked also to terrorism, among others. As you all know, that in Marsabit the other day, there was a major operation in Marsabit and Isiolo to dismantle cartel, drug cartel. They are led by the OLF. And in the process, we realized that there are also elements of Al-Shabaab that are part of it, because they were involving themselves in acts of mining, at the same time human trafficking and drugs. And we are discussing about Kenyans getting lost, but we also know that these characters were using Kenya as a route for trafficking persons from Ethiopia, through those routes that have been mentioned, and sometimes also through Garissa to Tana River, then crossing Savo East towards Taita Taveta and to Tanzania in some cases, or through Kwale to Tanzania, or through the sea, because there are many sea points that are unmanned. So these are challenges that we must confront, and perhaps, as you have said, it is something we need to think through how best we can make it bigger and intergovernmental in nature, so that then if there's that unit for anti-trafficking, they will then have the human trafficking unit can also work together with the labor agencies to monitor the trends. I can also not emphasize the fact that most members here have said community awareness and civic awareness is extremely important. It's important for us as leaders to voice these issues continuously and to ask religious leaders in every area as we come to use the Friday prayers, Sunday, Saturday prayers to bring awareness. You'll be surprised, Mr. Chair, that this is not just confined to the north. Some of these recruitment agencies traffic people. And there are even a number of cases from Kisii and other parts of the country, Nairobi, of course, in the people we have in Myanmar, Vietnam, and Saudi Arabia and other parts of the world. So it is something that we must continue labor migration without giving it a bad name through human trafficking. And that is, we must separate the chaff from the wheat. I think we take most of these as suggestions from the members on how to make things better. Yes, I agree with Honorable P.C. Sigay that Ambassador Sigay, that this thing of officers overstaying in a place should come to an end. And again, based on my recent visit to Coast, there was a strong recommendation from all the police officers, OCSs who are there, that it was also dehumanizing to have somebody operate somewhere in Tarasa, as we were told by, or in a place of operation for more than 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. You know, we were being given, Mr. Chair, even cases where a police officer, because he's been posted to Tana River, he thought that he's going to serve there for 5 years, then move to another place like that, or posted to Mandera border. It's an operation area he thought he was going to do for some time, then come to another place and there will be changes. They even decide to marry for the time being in that area, in the hope that in future he will now go and marry properly the way he wanted. And so it's it's very personal to the well-being of these officers who are serving in different places. We have agreed with National Police Service that in the next 3 months, all transfers must be done. Anybody who has served more than 3 years, there must be changes across the country so that somebody who has been in an operation area can go to a different part of the country that doesn't have the challenges they are facing in the corner they are in. And then leaders and so forth. I think roadblocks, Vietnam, yeah, all these are the issues. We take them as suggestions to improve our response on these issues. I think I have a last question, Mr. Chair, which is from Honorable Kakai Bissau, which is question number 9. There are other 3 questions. I don't see the honorable members here. You will guide me after that, but let me first go through the one for Honorable Kakai Bissau, which is a statement regarding the disappearance and tragic death of Ms. Lydia Tokeshi Buhala. Honorable Chairperson, the honorable member sought this information in 4 parts, and I'd like to respond as follows. First, part 1, steps taken on the disappearance of Ms. Lydia Tokeshi Buhala and actions taken by Kilimani and Kabete Police Station to investigate the case. Mr. Chair, the disappearance of Ms. Lydia Tokeshi Buhala was initially reported at Riruta Police Station and subsequently referred to DCI Kabete, who took over the investigations. As such was initiated on 8th of January 2025. The deceased motor vehicle registration number KCU 931V was found abandoned in the Riruta area. The scene was processed and documented, and the crime scene investigation team conducted a forensic examination. The vehicle was towed to DCI Dagoretti as an exhibit. Number 2, progress of investigation. Mr. Chair, the scene was processed and documented by the crime scene and investigation team from DCI Dagoretti. Relevant samples were collected for analysis and subsequently submitted to the government chemist in the lab reference number provided for, which is A142/225. On 11th of January 2025, a mutilated body of an unidentified female adult was discovered from Gataka Forest. As a result, the DCI Homicide Directorate took over the investigation from DCI Kabete on 13 January 2025. The DNA analysis was conducted, established at 99% maternity match between the discovered body and the deceased mother, confirming the victim's identity. The toxicology report is currently pending. Report on the whereabouts of Mr. Joseph Philip Orwa as a person of interest and a key suspect, and the findings of the police on his connection with the disappearance of Ms. Buhala. The suspect, Joseph Philip Orwa, was the last person seen with the deceased on 5th of January 2025 at about 1400 hours at his residence in Ongatarongai, which is the approximate time the deceased's phone went off. Further investigation revealed that the suspect was using 2 mobile numbers, both of which were switched off shortly after the murder. The suspect's mobile number was later traced along Kikuyu Road at around 600 hours, which aligns with the same time the motor vehicle was abandoned within the same area. Investigation established a link between the suspect and the deceased motor vehicle, tracking its movement from Ongatarongai to Ngong and finally to Riruta area, where the vehicle was disposed of. The suspect was captured on CCTV footage and at multiple petrol stations along this route on the night of 6th January 2025. The DCI investigation team visited the suspect's home in Oyugis and its environs and documented substantial evidence. Efforts are in place to trace the suspect's whereabouts and subsequently arraign him in court to face appropriate charges. Measures in place to support families of missing persons during investigations, including coordination between different police stations and the role of forensic technology in identifying and tracking movement of potential suspects. Upon receiving reports of missing persons, the police immediately commenced investigations utilizing forensic technology to trace the victim's last known movements and identify potential suspects. Throughout the investigation, the police keep the victim's family informed at every stage, providing regular updates and necessary support. Once suspects are apprehended, they are arraigned before court of law to answer charges, thus ensuring justice is served. In short, Mr. Chair, the suspect is still at large, but the evidence is overwhelmingly pointing at him. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
know who killed Lydia. And you've talked about the phone being switched off. Now, even if the phone is switched off, are you confirming that it's never been switched on and using another mobile number? And two, you've mentioned about the families being informed. I have been constantly been in touch with Mr. Bukhala, the father, and the mother as well. But so far, there's been no communication from your side, unless maybe it's on its way. But I think it would be very good to actually emphasize on that so that the persons who are affected also feel that actually they are being sorted. But the bottom line, we want to bring the killers of Lydia to book. And given the system that you have, I believe that sooner or later we'll bring the killers to book. So I'll appreciate also if you continuously kept us updated as the people's representative from Kiminini and also to the family. So I think we can keep the issue alive and keep us posted. Up to that, Chair, maybe if you could allow me also to raise some rider to the CS. To both the CS and the PS, I know your job is very demanding, hands-on, reactionary in terms of emergency. I don't know where you're headed to. When the next call rings, you might be going to an emergency response area. But there is the issue of gangs in Trans Nzoia, which I have constantly been in contact with both of you, trying to forward to you these messages, and I believe other leaders as well from Trans Nzoia, from the women rep to the senator to the other elected leaders. I believe that some of the situations we are seeing, because I remember, Chair, when there was a statement read in the House from Viga, do you remember when MP Muhaya brought the issue, we had to park and went, you know, in the waiting areas to discuss it, because already you had assured me that this was being worked on. There should be a way to mitigate these issues, CS. And you are aware, PS is aware. What are you doing about this issue of gangs in Trans Nzoia? I'm forced to bring it here because my several efforts to reach, I know you're busy, yes, but this will get out of hand. We must take some actions to mitigate it. You might give me the answer now, or later on we can organize with the rest of the colleagues from the county to come and sit down, but we need a quick action on this. And lastly, infrastructure. Chief's office. I know, or sub-county headquarters. An example, in Kiminini, we don't have a sub-county headquarters. But if you went to other sub-counties, you see a lot of investment from your budget line. Now, even as you reorganize, could you relook into affirmative action? And on the chief's office, and we thank you for really expediting the issue of the village elders. But these village elders, most of the time, when we put up the chief's offices, we need to have like a standard plan where they can also have like a waiting area so that they can also have a decent life. Because I know today, without those village elders flowing through the information upwards to the assistant chiefs, DCC, up to the RC, up to your level, it will not be possible if it's not for these men and women. So yes, we appreciate you've come up with the issue of giving them the remuneration, but think also about their well-being in terms of the physical infrastructure. And as I said also on the distribution, also think of the other marginalized sub-counties in the past, whereby you'll always see that some sub-counties actually, they've been left out. So even as you do the redistribution, for those who put requests across, kindly look into it. Thank you.
Maybe we,
I think this is straightforward.
because we should be finishing in 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe a rider, you're normally very brief.
Yes. First of all, Chair, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank the CS, particularly for the tours you went the other day. This is what we want, visibility. One of the things which we face in this country is the issue of police doing a good job, but not giving updates to the nation. When I see it, we need to get the police up there again.
We need them to be telling the nation about these sensitive issues which are coming up every now and then, so that the nation can be able to appreciate what they are doing. I'm very happy that the PS also came up with the issue of village elders. And let me tell you, CS, I was there over the weekend. The village elders are very excited. It's because of what is coming out from the offices. I mean, the CS was there addressing issues. You were there in the coast. We need to see this thing. I want to ask the police to be updating, particularly on cases which are under investigation. You cannot say we are investigating forever. You must give us deadlines and say, in the next 1 month, we are going to give you an answer on this case. But when you have an open-ended investigation, nothing is coming up, we need the police to tell us what they are. They are doing a good job, but you see, they keep quiet. And the Office of Police spokesman, Mr. CS, must be endowed. The police spokesman must be able to be a person who can articulate, like the fellow who was there. Was it Obonyo or who? The spokesman who was there last. We need the police to come out and tell the country, because otherwise they will be vilified. The people will say police are doing nothing, and yet they are doing a good job. So we need to see visibility. I like the way you are moving around the country and telling everybody what you are doing. We are very happy. Thank you.
Back to you, Buenos.
I think, Mr. Chair, just quickly, is that first of all, on the follow-up to the Mr. Bukala's issue, Ms. Bukala's issue, I think I will relay the information back to the DCI to update the family if the update has not been ongoing. But usually there's an investigation officer who always, in more investigation cases, who always updates families. And I think I will, if that has not been the case to Mr. Bukala's family, I will make sure that I take it back. As to the whereabouts of this suspect, I believe that you can see all the evidence is pointing at one person. So the question is only where that person is. And I think now the investigation moved to who is the suspect to where the suspect is. And I believe that, again, with you know, as you can see, we will need collaboration with also neighboring countries, just in case if he ran away to the neighboring countries. And then on the chief's office, I agree with you that when we build the SCC's office, maybe we should always have consideration of where a chief or so can operate from. When we build the chief's office, we should have a place for the assistant chief where he can sit and the village elder. So we have been grappling with one full design of a police station, of administrative units, so that then if you get well-wishers or NGCDF or any other person, they want to build their police station, they know the standard design of a police station. They know the standard design of a chief's office, standard design of, so that one, we will follow up to make sure that that is completed. Then we need to encourage as many members of the public as possible to give to these causes, to build a police station, to build a chief's office. It shouldn't be government alone. Even the business community can do so, because this is a joint collaboration between the community and government. And in cases where business community has been very active, let me say the case of Eastleigh, for example, security is greatly improved because the business community is working together with the local police to invest in facilities, but also working relationship. And I think should be the case in many parts of the country. On the question of Trans Nzoia, I don't think that Trans Nzoia really have gangs at the level of gangs, but they have goons. At the moment, there are many goons attached to politicians in Trans Nzoia. They haven't matured properly to be a gang. You know, a gang is a very serious issue. A gang is led separately with a proper chain of command and so forth. But there are goons that are attached to leaders, and we know a number of those goons are hanging around political actors. A lot has been done so far to deal with those, to dismantle those goons, but still a lot needs to be done because these are people who are hired per session. So some leader who's going to some village, he doesn't want to go alone. I don't know why you're fearing his own people. You carry goons. They reach a funeral, they start a fight. The funeral is in disarray. The family is run away. And, you know, we have had those cases in Matungu. We have those cases in Kitale. I schooled in Kitale, and I'm also a person who lives in its neighborhood. And there was a time you'd go to Kitale and walk in the streets normally. But now if you go to Kitale and you're walking around, you also have to get some people to escort you because there are many goons around that can make your life very difficult. We've been working very hard with the county security team in Trans Nzoia, and I'll be visiting there as part of our county also visits. But a lot has been done to deal with this issue, but we will still do more. This is just basically politics, very bad politics, which really we should not have in our country. And you see, one person organizes young people to heckle and fight others, then everybody else has to recruit people because they realize that it is not enough to have security, formal security. You have to have also some bouncers to escort you. It starts like a nice thing, like you have some people to take you around, then slowly it grows to become organized goons. And then before long, it will now be gangs, the way Mheshimiwa said. So we are dealing with it. But if it reaches a stage where we have to arrest some politicians and deal with them, we'll do it so that we can make the county peaceful. There are some counties that are so peaceful, Mr. Chair. Yet there are some certain counties that have this kind of goods. You know, a number of these counties, I don't want to use my county as an example, but if you look at my county, anybody goes, leaders go together with their opponents, they go to the same meeting, they talk, they leave. Not a day that somebody organizes anything. You know, you don't have to prepare to go to Elgeyo Marakwet, and I must appreciate all the leaders that come from that county. But there are some counties I don't want to mention that you have to put a budget to go and visit your own constituency or to your own county for some people to escort you, and before long, they tax you this, tax you the other one, and the place becomes very chaotic. We need to work very hard to bring the country into some good level of order. And then on the issue of chief's office also, we depend on NGCDF. Let's work together. Support us also in some places. I am a firm defender of NGCDF, even when I was a senator, because I don't see the reason why in my constituency, for example, whether I am elected or not elected, I don't see how we should return money to Nairobi and then come here to beg to build classes and police stations and police. If there is a better model of decentralized resources than GCDF, and if we manage to get even the kind of returns that we get from NGCDF, if we got that from other devolved funds, if we got even a fraction of the devolved, for example, when we were in Senate, we were insisting, because the law says so, we're insisting that 40% of the money for devolution should go to development. But counties now cannot even reach 10% because they have inflated the human, because of experience of politics. So the wage bill has been increased. So if I come, I hire people. If I another one, I hire people. But the way NGCDF is so strict in terms of wage bill, almost 97% of the money go to development, it makes a difference. I am making a case on behalf of my ministry that even as we praise and appreciate NGCDF, let's work together on the security part. I know the schools have been built. We're almost at a level where we can say, yes, fairly built. But administrative units, which are extremely important, the chief's office, police station, we should. If you are talking about affirmative action in Trans Nzoia, because you have not gone to Tana River. You go to Tana River, the headquarters of Tana River, the county commissioner is living in some kind of a shanty there at the corner. That is his office. You know, as a committee, you need to go there. And you ask yourself, you know, if there is no definition of marginalization, that is outright marginalization. So we need to work on it. And because as a ministry we are struggling with development funds in different places, if we can get cases of NGCDF supporting us, even if it is 50-50, then we can see the budget that is appropriated here, we can share 50-50, say, if it is 25 million to build a good police station, we can contribute 10, like that. Then the country can be better. And some constituencies are doing that, and they're doing very well. Some have not even attempted a single police station, Mr. Chairman.
Chair, could we kindly request the minister to make his support for NGCDF official?
It has always been official. It's on record. It has been on record from when I was a senator. No, even when it was when you used to have a fight between governors and I mean counties and constituencies, I'm on record, even as majority leader in the Senate, that and we must separate our political competition and the place of the resource of NGCDF. And the facts speak for themselves. I know where Rosa is going, but I won't change my position. It's very firm. It's very, very official. Affirmative action on infrastructure, village elders. On the village elders issue, we are very clear. The policy we are working on is to define what's a village. Then from there, we see what kind of support we'll give to the village elders. Because there are people volunteering now as village elders. Wait until it is said they will get some ex gratia or some support. Then suddenly there will be mushrooming of villages. Yes. You know, that now, oh yeah, now we are 5 villages. So we want first to work on the policy on where is a village and how do you define a village. In Nairobi, what's a village? In a rural area, what's a village? And who is a village elder? Yes. You must also remember, Mr. Chair, that there's an overlapping responsibilities here. You have a village elder, but even in the County Government Act, we have the village council. Yes. That is run by county governments. And the only county that has operationalized a village council is Samburu. And some other counties, and I think Kajiado is trying to do so, Narok is trying to do so. They must also be very careful not to inflate also the wage bill. But at the same time, how will these then village councils operate with a village elder that is working with the... We want to harmonize all that in the policy itself so that we don't have duplication. And eventually then we can amend the law to align the village together. And then... I totally agree with Honorable Ambassador Sigay on the police. The police are doing a lot. The problem, they are only in public when they are responding to criticism. You know, the National Police Service, in terms of its communication, is only when they are being criticized that somebody has been abducted, somebody is missing, somebody is whatever. But on a daily basis, on a day-to-day basis. For example, I've said this because I saw the other day some newspaper writing about our security, and it's extremely embarrassing that you know, a nationally circulated newspaper would, in a disparaging manner, speak about our security sector, including there is no country in the world, that its opposition or its newspapers will be discussing the strength or lack of its police. For example, even when ODM was in opposition, I never heard former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, for example, just hold on, as an opposition, as an opposition party for the many years. Even then, I never saw the former Prime Minister go somewhere and stand in a place and say, in Kenya, we don't have enough this and that to fight this kind of crime. Nobody does that. Because there is a difference between politics and national interest. So you can't wake up one day and say, oh, Kenya does not have number of helicopters or doesn't have doesn't have guns, doesn't have bullets or whatever the kind of thing. And I don't know who will teach these newspapers to understand the difference between national security and personal petty fights about this politician and that one because this is the owner of this place and that place. So we just need to be very, very... So our police officers, and I am saying this in the context of fighting terrorism, from the day we have been from the onset of Al-Shabaab, they have never stopped trying to come to our country. Yet our security people have never stopped defending this country. So the peace we have is not for the absence of the threat. It is because of the daily effort of our police officers, which includes the NPR, but also the daily effort of citizens who live in frontier counties. When I went to Todonyang, Mr. Chair, we depend on the NPR in Todonyang to protect our country because it is the citizens in that corner that are doing a very good job. Kibish, yes. You go to Mandera, you go to Marsabit, you go to Tana River, you go to Lamu, you go to West Pokot. Most parts of the border areas which are security prone, the citizens, the NPR, and the police are working together to secure our country. But because there was one incident here over Ramadan, another incident over Christmas, another incident over there, somebody blows up and says that this country is Tatars and so forth. Yet every day, the security are protecting this country. So the point you've made, PCCK, we take it seriously, and when we go back, we will communicate National Police Service to re-engineer their communication. If they have done certain investigation, like some of the things we are reading here, I think every so often, either the DCI himself as DCI in the world, when there are serious investigations that are going on in the US, for example, the FBI will come, the director of FBI himself will come and read, we have been following this investigation, this one, or CIA, we have been doing this and this. So I think at some point the DCI should himself in person. And then the IG, every so often, maybe 4 times a year, update the country on certain issues. And then now the daily or weekly communication from their spokesperson. This kind of proactive communication will make people aware of the things the security sector is doing every day to avert any disaster in our country and any other problems in the nation. I totally agree, and we are doing a tour all over the country. Having done the coast region, we'll continue with the other regions. But I have learned from these tours that it's not a tourism kind of thing. We've been able to go there, solve instantly certain problems that should be solved instantly. For example, we were in Kilifi and we found 4 police officers who have been manning a police station for the longest, yeah, and they are drunk, completely, addicted. And immediately, by virtue of just being there, we took them to rehabilitation camp so that they can be attended to, because the community was saying these people are sick. They have been like this for 2 years and so forth. They are the only ones manning this police station. So sometimes it's not enough to operate from here in the city. Certain opportunities being there. You see with your own eyes also some infrastructure. When we are talking about affirmative action, you can see this one requires a police station, this one requires whatever. And this, and also the policies themselves. To be able to meet a police officer who has been in Tana River for 15 years in one operational area, and he comes from somewhere in Kisumu. You feel, by feeling and seeing them, you look at these things differently, and we look forward to doing so across the country, and perhaps re-energize our officers in terms of the service they are giving, but also change as much as we can as a team from the ministry on the issues of security. I think I leave it at that, Mr. Chair, and if it pleases you, perhaps, because we have another meeting, we request that we come towards an end of this conversation.
Chair, can I say a word? Don't know how we are going to handle this because it's already 1:10.
Me, I'll take only 1 minute.
And maybe before, because I know even the vice have already indicated he's got something to say. I'm seeing Protas and Buyu, and of course the CS that earlier even indicated that you'll be having another meeting. You know, initially we have got about 11 questions, but you had exhausted at least the question whose members appeared. And I want to direct at this. For the rest of the question, we can able to have them, because already written responses, the table for records, the documents of the House,
And there were 2 or 3. I think Mary talked that there was no sufficient time to have them responded to, which I did commit to the House on Thursday. Maybe you can have them worked on and transmitted through our secretariat so that we can, about, I think...
3 questions.
There were
the 3 remaining.
Sorry?
Is it the 3 remaining or?
There are the 3.
For Honorable Murkomen.
From Daoud on the issue of regarding discriminatory screening, protocol on administration and okay, the screening.
Okay.
Then there is another one on the from Tindi Mwale regarding disruption of the performance of Echoes of War. Okay. Play it by Butere Girls. And then there is another one by, who is this? By Honorable Doris Donya. This is about the statement regarding tragic death of Sylvia Kimunto. I think that those are the 3.
Okay. We'll work on it and reply.
So if we can get it by close of business or tomorrow, so that at least, because we table by Thursday, that will be more appreciated. And also CS, because we should be actually coming to an end. I think we had agreed also on the issue of the list of administration units. I think the PS is here. He can able to have them, to help you. We have them, and I will appreciate we segregate that those awaiting just AIE and issues of procedure for posting, we have them as a separate list. But those who unit which were gazetted but has got no budget whatsoever, and looking about mobilization of resources, we can have them, of course, with their budgeting, so that we, between ourselves, we see what to do between Parliament and Treasury and us in mobilization of resources. I think also we agree with you, Honorable CS, that of course on the issue of we should be thinking about amendment of laws to expand the scope of a power. So the other issues of KNWS, the Kenya Forest, could be of course held also accountable. On the issue of the rangers, I think we can have a conversation in a later date on the same. So members, I will kindly ask that we'll open it again. Masara, you're very experienced. You've been here before. Once we start it again, we open it again. I will kindly, with a lot of respect, kindly. I think the Vice had something. They visited the committee when we were in the State House last. They visited the committee, visited the Mbagathi Hospital. And there's just something so much of concern that he wanted to pass it, that you are here. The rest of us kindly. Okay. Okay, no response? So give Masara to pass our information, then Vice. Then we wrap up kindly.
Thank you, Chair.
Daktari, please.
My 1 minute, Chair, this was very concerning. The cooperation between the ministry and NGCDF. If you want to encourage members, is that those who have participated well and assisted your ministry, you need to do something to them so that it can encourage others. I'm saying this because in Suna West, we have done 4 police stations, 5 police posts, 1 anti-stock theft with 17 units, 4 ACC officers, DCC officers. We have 8 assistant chief and chief's officers, a staff quota for OCPD, DCIO, and ACC1. But you have not rewarded us. So you need...
That is a pass holder, Buenos Aires.
The reality is, in such a situation, you can do something for such a constituency, and you say, because of the cooperation, we have done this. Because we are just doing the same work for the same government, for the same people. Thank you.
You are the pass holder. You are a member of this committee which appropriate the budget, even to them. So it should be the opposite. So, Vice, just...
Thank you very much, Chairman. Waziri, I have 3 issues. The first is on the issue of the National Police Hospital in Mbagathi. When we visited that facility on Thursday, I think we came away realizing that that facility is complete. There are a few missing issues. And there is also confirmed that there is an outstanding bill. that is shared between Interior and Defense. But considering what you just said about what Honorable Sigei there said, if we really care about the welfare of the police, I think our police must have a hospital. And going further, they must have a hospital at least level 5, level 6, so that all cases should not go to other private hospitals. And in the process, we are likely to save a lot of money to the taxpayer. So for that reason, you may not have answers on the whim, but we really want to invite you to be seized of this matter so that this facility should be put to operation as soon as it is possible. Secondly is the issue of Official Secrets Act.
Chair, this issue of hospital, I think, Chair, not hospital, hospital, Mbagati Hospital, just a comment, just a comment on the hospital. I'm writing on the hospital. Chair, I think we need a session on this with the ministry, because you went there on a serious mission. We need a report to be tabled when the minister is there, so that we can discuss seriously, because I saw a serious visit. So my suggestion is that we have a special session so that we discuss this issue of Mbagati. It has been there for a long time.
I think I really don't want to invite discussion on that. I want us to open the hospital. Let that hospital be operational, and it serves the members of the National Police Service. The second issue, Honorable Waziri, is the issue of Official Secrets Act. Anybody in this government who works at the highest level and who is going to handle secret classified documents will always subscribe to an Official Secret Act, that they'll be binded by this, sometimes all their lifetime, sometimes as many years as it takes. But listening to sometimes to what the media broadcast, what many people are attempting to say, you cannot divulge information that you came about as a result of holding a particular office. You cannot divulge it to the public or even to the media itself. So for that reason, because that particular docket, I think, is largely under Interior, we must enforce that. Because if we don't do that, we can easily lose this country. The final issue is the issue of Sagante Jaldesa sub-county. I must thank your ministry for putting up that facility, which is complete. And I want to request you to commission it so that at least we have a facility that can serve the people of Marsabit. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So yes, I just want also to pass an information. You may not need actually to respond to. Maybe you can just follow up. There is a Kenyan who had written to you through me that kindly assist the graduate prison officers by raising this issue in relevant. Okay, the Commissioner General of Prison is now demanding that a constable must hold a master's degree to be promoted to the rank of inspector. At the same time, the department is recruiting cadets from outside with only bachelor's degree and immediately appointing them as officers. It's like maybe the same card, I guess. Okay, this is deeply unfair to the serving officers who already hold bachelor's degree and have dedicated over 10 years of their 10 years of their years of service without any promotion. You know, with diligence, loyalty to the country and all that. So maybe you can take this one up and see, and you don't need to respond to it here. Any comment you have to what the vice say, and then we wrap up, we close it up.
I think First of all, you know, the oath of secrecy that I took as a cabinet secretary, that's what I was looking for, says that I will be a true and faithful counselor to the President for the good management of public affairs of the Republic. I will not divulge, directly or indirectly, such matters as shall come to my knowledge in the discharge of my duties, and committed to my secrecy except as may be required by for the discharge of my duties as a cabinet secretary. And there's no timeline. It's for the rest of your life, you know. But you know, in Kenya, if you see the group of the older politicians, they know what they are. They know what they took their as oath of secrecy. But there are also those who are older, but you know, they don't abide by this oath of secrecy. So someone just wakes up one morning and said, oh, one day we were sitting where we discussed this, so and so say this, and yet you swore that, you know, I will not do it unless it is in discharge of my responsibility as a CS. Once you live there, you go and do your other issues out there. And there are people who are in this parliament who have been ministers. You will hear nothing about what they used to do, nothing. I served with Haji, I have served with Amos Wako, I have served with, you know, many former cabinet secretaries. There was no day, even in private, they will tell you certain things, you know. So I think maybe it's not in my purview, but maybe as colleagues in cabinet, for example, just as an example, even for the PSS, maybe it's something that needs to be to run through people what that means, and what are the attaining consequences for you know, for how you, if you are going to divulge certain information that has come to your knowledge by virtue of holding a certain office. It says something about you, not just for the time you have now left the office, but for the time you intend to come back to any office. It says something about the kind of person you can be in terms of being trusted to hold certain offices. And it's important for people to separate those things. And you have not said anything, and I have not said anything. I'm just saying generally. That is what it means. On the question of National Police Hospital, I think the issue is just the amount. If we can get in the budget so that the contractor can release the facility, and you know we have a pending bill of 850 million. If that can be sorted, we are good to go. Even if it is halved, we can then start a conversation with the contractor so that they can release. Otherwise, from my last engagements, everything else is in advanced stage, including recruitment of the men and women who will serve, the health workers and so forth. And then on the issue of sub-county, we hope to visit your county in the month of May. So for the security meetings, maybe you can spend one more day to open or something based on how we'll agree with you. We can have time to discuss. On the issue of prisons, I think there is some small misunderstanding because I somehow understand that message, because there are some people even who went to court. I think in the recruitment of the prisons that is going to happen end month, there are 2,500 constables that are going to be recruited. It has absolutely nothing. It has no limit of the minimum qualification are provided for there and so forth. For the 500 professionals, it is specific to the certain professions. Yeah, you know, architects, civil engineers, medical professionals. So now somebody misunderstood that for those specific professional qualifications, it should have first given an opportunity to those who have degree who are already serving. But this is an architect. There is no way by virtue of you got a degree, you are constable, and you got a degree, you can be an architect or you can be. And if you were there, definitely, if the architect was already there, it means by going out to advertise more, we are trying to get more architects, more doctors, more, and so forth. So I think some clarification needs to go out there for people to appreciate that the 500 professionals being hired are specific to particular professionals with specific academic and professional qualifications for one to hold those offices. Otherwise, the promotion of those who are, I know the concern where it comes from is because that person is being hired as a nurse or as an architect and then comes at a position of an inspector. So the one who came as a constable and has since qualified to get a degree is hoping that it would have been automatic. That takes them to inspector. But the route of coming is different. We are trying to attract specific skills to and to keep them, which is not easy, Mr. Chair, because even in the DCI, and that's something to be discussed later, part of the reasons why we're not keeping many professionals to do the forensics and so forth is because our salary and the ranking is at a certain level. And if you don't have a special scheme for these people to be held, these are scientists who are sought after all over the world. They can easily get jobs in the private sector or outside the country. So they had to start from that position by virtue of their professional qualifications. Asante sana. Thank you.
So thank you so much, CS and your team. I really want to appreciate on behalf of Parliament for honoring the invitation and address the majority of questions that are of greater interest to the Kenyan. So members, the meeting is adjourned until Thursday.